Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 317 of Spittin Chiclets, presented by Pink Whitney from our friends at New Amsterdam Vodka here in the old Barstool Sports podcast family. What is up, gang? The NHL is in full swing. The league is very tight so far. All the teams are within 7 points. We had a huge trade we're going to get to shortly, but first, our greetings with the fellas, producer Mikey Granelli and NYC. How we doing, buddy?
Life is pretty good right now. Brady's going back to the Super Bowl, and I'm predicting the future left and right. So life is good for this producer.
Fucking unreal, dude. Basically called that trade we're going to be getting to soon. Biz, I mean, is G on a roll here or what?
Yeah, I'm going to become the producer, and he's going to take over my role. So it was great knowing you guys. I'm sure you're going to miss all my hot takes and shitty picks, and it's been real. And Granelikov is back as well, back on the YouTube channel, playing the video games.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's go. He's buzzing.
That fucking headband is too much. Biz has his Mexican pussy muncher headband on. He looks like he's getting ready for a middleweight fight coming down the fucking aisle right now.
It was a gift from my old lady. What's up, Whit?
Wonderful gift.
Not much, dude. If you were the producer of this podcast, we'd record on Monday and they'd come out like Friday night.
A year later.
You'd be the worst producer in the world. Not much going on, guys. We have some big news around the NHL. A big trade. You always like seeing that. It gives us something to talk about. What else? Brady, this guy. What else are you gonna say? It's so bizarre to me that he's 43 years old and is still doing it. And the now having as many NFC titles as Breeze, Rogers, the list goes on and on. Favre,
Kyle Orton.
Yeah, it just shows a Hall of Fame career from his 37th birthday and on. Forget what he did before that. Also, I went on dog walk, snake draft.
Ooh.
RA have you done one or two?
I've done two.
Right?
Yeah.
RA's done two. It was my first. For everyone who doesn't know, snake drafts, right? First overall. If it's a 5-person draft, then picks 10th overall. Fifth pits 5th and 6th. Right. Everyone knows that.
I'm interested to hear what the topic was.
The topic was divas in sports. So you had to pick one guy from the NFL, one guy from baseball, one guy from basketball, hockey. Unfortunately, that was not
pick yourself?
Good. No, I'm
Taylor
not a diva.
Dubois.
Whitney Houston.
Oh shit! I should have gone Luke Dubois.
Well, that would have been the most popular
And then last
answer.
was miscellaneous. I think I won this draft easily, and I actually could have picked somebody that really guaranteed the win, and I stuck to my guns and picked somebody that I knew more about. But still, go check it out. Dog walk.
Who'd you pick in the hockey world as your ultimate diva?
So
It'll drop by the time the show does.
Well, no, I really prefaced it with they all said there's really isn't many divas in hockey. So
No, not even
Avery
close.
was the first pick. Carl picked Avery. And I said I could see as a guy who's not a hockey fan, right? You're going to pick Avery, who's in the news a lot, whatever. Well, when it came to me, I went with Lindros. Only because he requested the trade when he got
Eli
picked.
Manning. Yeah, he pulled the Eli Manning.
I said, we've never interviewed him. I probably just shriveled that possibility at some point, but I had to pick a guy who refused to play for the team who picked him.
Antonio Brown would have had to have gone for NFL, correct?
Yep. Antonio Brown was. I think
All right.
Carl actually could win it too, but go check it out. I don't mean to talk about myself.
Since we kind of glanced over Brady, Listen, I was tuning into the game in the midst of calling the Coyotes game, which they got hosed on. It was an icing on the last goal in the last minute. We won't even go there. There was a red zone opportunity in the first half, and blatant hold on the Packers guy. They end up having to settle for a field goal. And as a fan, as a casual Green Bay Packers fan, I'm like, you know what? It's a playoff game. If they're going to let them clutch and grab and play like that, at least call it consistently. And I'm not going to be the guy to bitch about it. And I know that the picture doesn't look great at the fact that he had a hand on his undershirt.
6 feet of he was pulling it 6 feet, Biz.
That's like a blatant trip in the offensive zone. You have to call it.
Everyone in my house who saw that right away, they're like, bad call. They haven't called anything on the view from behind.
That's
once you saw the picture of the jersey being dragged 5 yards is over.
Those optics are as blatant as anything in biz. I thought they fucked up kicking the field goal. Just over 2 minutes left. 4th and goal.
Yeah.
A field goal serves you nothing there. You're not guaranteed to get the ball back. You need to stop, which they didn't get. And they coughed the fucking game up.
I could understand if you're giving it to Trubisky or something, but you're giving it to fucking Tom Brady. Did not understand that.
That too, yeah.
the head scratcher was the third down. I'm like, oh my God, he's at least to make fourth down more manageable. And then he ended up trying to zip it in there. And then, yeah, when they brought the field goal unit on, I was just like, oh Jesus. I went right to Twitter because I couldn't wait to see all the response. It was so is that like, Dave said it was a fireable offense. Do you think that that's like a fireable offense?
I mean, Dave's the hyperbole king. I don't think it was a fireable offense. I thought it was just a terrible coaching call. I mean, if it was his fifth year and it was like Mike McCarthy all over again, yeah. But I don't know. I thought he thought for some reason he thought the Green Bay defense was going to stop and get the ball back, which was a poor calculation, man. I don't know. You down three served them nothing there.
Pathetic.
I mean, you got the MVP, which I believe Rodgers is going to win the MVP.
And the sorry, Biz. I mean, NFL is measured in Super Bowls, not fucking regular season MVPs. I'll do. No,
he's saying that's why you go.
Oh, I was going to say you may be hand on the ball there for. No, that's okay. You're fired up. You're supporting Tom Brady with that lid on, and congrats to him. Mind you, I'm excited for the Super Bowl because it's kind of the moment of like, is Mahomes going to take over as like, is the torch going to be handed? I think Mahomes could go on to have just as good a career as Tom Brady.
If you think we're switching out of that first game already, you're fucking crazy because that was the second worst coaching decision in the history of football from me watching. Right. The first was when Carroll threw it over the middle instead of giving it to the best running back in the game. That was number one. This one, It's like we were getting punked. I don't care if you tell me it's like a 2% better chance. Even if you don't get it, you have them on their 8 with all the timeouts and the 2-minute warning. So even if you went for it on fourth down and didn't get it, it's the same thing as like you still need the stop. They still needed a stop. I couldn't believe if you're a Packers fan. No wonder Rodgers was pissed. He didn't play great, by the way. Also, Brady had 2 picks. They didn't get a first down on either one, I don't think. They went 3 and out both times, or one of them they got a field goal. So
he had 3 picks even, and their D won the fucking game for them clearly.
Yeah, their D's nice. The other game,
dude,
I'm a horrible
cheetah.
Oh my God, I'm a horrible gambler. I wanted the Bills so bad. I've been saying that for a while. Just the city of Buffalo deserves it, but the week was leading up, and everyone the Bills. I'm like, all right, Mahomes left the game with a concussion, but all signs seem to be he's fine and he's good to go. And you hear about turf toe, which can be a big deal, right? But people were talking about the Kansas City Chiefs like they were playing some scrub unit, some team thrown together that barely made the playoffs. It was like they won the Super Bowl last year. It's their third home AFC title game in a row, and everyone is on the Bills. So I was rooting for the Bills, but I bet on the Chiefs because I said, listen, it's a win-win. I don't mind if I lose the money if the Bills win, but the Chiefs are winning this game. It was the comparison was like betting with your heart. Everyone who had the Bills, it would be like if the Buffalo Sabres went on a run this year, which I hope they do, and then they met Tampa in the chance to go to the Stanley Cup final, and you're like, oh, everyone wants Buffalo, bet Buffalo. It's like it's the Lightning, dude. It's the Chiefs. So Buffalo's time could come, but the Chiefs, Mahomes, Kelsey, and Tyreek Hill, you can't tackle Tyreek Hill when he gets the ball.
It's nuts. He's like the McDavid of the NFL.
What's crazy too is this is the first time that a Super Bowl team has had home field advantage, in their actual home stadium, because other teams have played close to home, but not in their actual.
So the NFL's rigged, is what you're saying?
Yeah,
with no fans.
Team that was 9-7 and people.
So I thought the craziest stat was since Tom Brady's entered the league, he hasn't gone 3 years without getting to a Super Bowl. That is
first player in NFL history to play in 10 NFL championship games, 24th athlete of the 4 majors to play in 10 championship games or rounds. LeBron and Brady are the only ones to do this in the last 30 years. We already mentioned as many NFC titles in 1 year as Breeze and Rodgers have had, and he's just the second starter to reach the Super Bowl in both conferences. Craig Morton did it way back in the day for Dallas, then Denver.
18% of all Super Bowls are 18% of every Super Bowl that's ever been played.
Absolute obscene numbers. And again, Green Bay, I mean, I don't know if it's worth crying on a video online about, some people might have done, but Rodgers lost his 4th straight AFC championship game. He was pretty despondent. I don't know if he's going to want to play somewhere else, but I know there's a lot of scuttlebutt on that.
Well, he always is into that, though. He's always into the drama.
Yeah, he does love the drama.
He makes it openly that he's not happy, and maybe he did play his last game.
And
he's 38.
He made sure to make everyone know the coach made that call as well, too. Like, I mean, whatever. If you
okay, so I love him. You know, I think he's one of the greatest ever. When goalies, they get a goal score on him and they kind of do the arm lift. He's the arm lift guy. He's like, every time a play's not made, he's like rolling his eyes and it's like on the screen and you're just like, oh.
He could have been on the diva. He could have been in the diva draft. He was not selected, but
I didn't realize he was 37. Wow.
He's turning 38 soon, I think. Wow. I think he's my age. Is he an 83 birth date or 82?
Yeah, but December of 83. So
fuck, I'm like a year older than him. We look the same. I look real good compared to that guy.
But either way, Kansas City looking to go back to back. We haven't had one of those since a local team I root for. And the Super Bowl. Let's see, what was the line? Kansas City, I believe, was 3. What, like a
3.5, right when it started? I thought.
Right, yeah, it was 3.5 right away, and then it did go down to 3 at a certain point. So
Kansas City's starting offensive tackle, I think left, like the important one. What is it? Left side, the quarterback's blind side. Tackle, he tore his Achilles. They were saying at the end of the game.
Yeah,
so that's a big loss. But huge. Mahomes is, Jesus, what a player.
Yeah, can't bet against Brady though. I'm glad. I'm
going to take him. I'm going to take the Bucs.
Undercover storyline is the Kelsey Gronk. I would say, I think as far as numbers are concerned, what he's done in the start of his career, he's on pace to have a better career. I mean, you look at the Super Bowls and that's another thing, but I like that battle going on too.
Yeah, Kelsey Gronk's been quiet. He had the one huge play in the game on Sunday, but he seems to not really be in the mix that much with their offense. And I know I'm kind of going against myself saying I'm gonna take the Bucs. Like, why do you bet against the Chiefs? I'm not watching Brady win a 7th Super Bowl and losing money. There's no chance. Nope. If I lose the bet, I lose the bet. If Brady wins, and I'm not betting against Tom Brady. That's the thing that's going on there. Right. No way.
And the Super Bowl will be played February 7th, it's roughly the 5th anniversary of Spittin Chiclets. Our first episode dropped right before the Super Bowl in 2016 back in the day. So
we'll all go out for a nice romantic dinner together.
We're kind of in that. We have a weird
in somebody's living room with an old wore down couch. That's where we'll have dinner.
Dude, that couch was not worn down. I mean, I'll take my lumps and arrows. That couch just barely got used. Okay. That's the only reason I know. The only time we used it was to film Chiclets. All right, boys. Well, I mentioned our friends at New Amsterdam Vodka in the intro, and now that hockey is back, you're going to have to find your own shot. And what better way to do it than with the new Pink Whitney Minis? Well, sometimes they call them nips wherever you're from. From January 1st through March 26th, we are giving Chiclets fans a chance to win a custom Pink Whitney shot machine. Biz has one in all of his bedrooms in his house. Whit does too. All 17 of his rooms.
I had one installed in my Jeep.
All you have to do,
actually take that out.
All you got to do is post a picture of you and your Pink Whitney minis or nips and use the hashtags Pink Whitney, hashtag take your shot, and hashtag sweepstakes. We will be picking winners every other week, so make sure you get creative with your submission. Don't be lazy. Don't just add an ER or an IE at the end like they do at hockey nicknames. Get a little fun with it. Get some creativity. And the new 50 milliliter Pink Whitney minis / nips can be found wherever you buy your spirits in both Canada and the United States. Dude, I'm not a big nip guy, but when we're on the road and there's like 700 of those laying in the kitchen, I might drink like 7 of them a day. Just one
little one hitter. Great for the golf course too.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like a one hitter.
Great to sneak on flights. I was drinking some on the way to Cabo, and the lady's like, "Yeah, you're not allowed to bring your own minis." I legit thought that's why they were created to fly with and have a couple on. When
you can't go through security with liquids, isn't that?
Yeah, you can because they're under a certain amount.
Yeah, that's just COVID protocol, Biz. It's just because of COVID right now. They don't want people drinking, but normally you can bring those.
You can bring minis through.
Oh yeah.
Dude, that's why they're called airplane sized.
It depends who's working TSA, dude. Sometimes like shit you couldn't get into before. Now you can take like a pack of fucking Bic lighters on and nobody fucking blinks. Before, like they'd pat you down and rub your grundle before they fucking let you on with a lighter.
RA's got his water.
RA's bringing hundreds of Red Sox Bic lighters to sell in other cities when they win the World Series.
Yeah.
That's a random hustle. Well, anyways, we did mention the huge trade since our last episode came together pretty quick. The number 2 and number 3 picks in the 2016 draft were swapped for each other as Columbus shipped Pierre-Luc Dubois in a 3rd-round pick in 2022 to the Winnipeg Jets for Patrick Laine and Jack Roslovic. Dubois had been benched on Thursday after a pretty subpar effort. The trade talks really picked up momentum on Friday. By Saturday morning, we woke up. He was traded. Roslovic is a Columbus native. He did not want to play in Winnipeg at all. He stayed home, never signed a contract there. He immediately signed a 2-year deal with Columbus worth $3.8 million. Patrick Laine will be RFA after this season. He's making $6.75 million. Winnipeg's going to eat about a quarter of the deal. Whereas Pierre-Luc Dubois is signed through 2022 at $5 million per. So Columbus maybe has an advantage, if you want to call it that, in the meantime. But either way, huge deal, a real hockey trade, not a cap deal. Biz, let's go to you first for your take.
So we got Jody Shelley coming on, who's got a way better pulse on this whole situation than us. I'm happy for everybody involved. I mean, I saw Pierre-Luc Dubois' interview with Ron McLean right after it happened, and listen. If you're a hardcore Columbus fan, everything he might have said, might have been throwing shit at the television and telling him to fuck off. But he genuinely seemed like so happy about it. He explained that, there's Pierre-Luc Dubois, the hockey player, and Pierre-Luc Dubois, the person. He just genuinely wasn't happy in Columbus, and he found a way to get himself out. And in a situation where, as Jody Shelley's going to mention, and we have before on the podcast, his father's an assistant coach in Winnipeg for the Manitoba Moose, right? So he spends time there in the off season. He's just comfortable with the situation. He seemed overjoyed about it. In return, Columbus is getting a big name that's going to draw more attention to their organization. He's going to help out on special teams. Now, the question mark remains, if Laine wasn't happy in Winnipeg, will he be happy in Columbus? I don't know why Laine wasn't really happy in Winnipeg. I don't know if there's Whit. I don't know if you've heard any of this. There's been rumblings that like maybe he didn't get along with teammates as well as he expected going in, where he didn't feel comfortable there. And now, I mean, even watching his interview, he seems excited to go to Columbus and make his own little imprint. Now, Roslovic, we talked about him earlier in our breakdowns of the teams and, what this guy can offer to a lineup. I think that they seem optimistic that he could maybe potentially turn out to be a decent second line center in the league. Now, Dubois, I think the ceiling's very high. I think that now, as far as depth through the middle of the ice, having Scheifele and Pierre-Luc Dubois as your 1-2, that is fucking deadly. That is deadly. Because I wasn't ready to put Dubois in that category of a 1A center. Like, I don't put him in that high echelon, but I think he's a competent guy who could maybe, play defensively to where he could shut those guys down and maybe keep up with them offensively if had to go one-on-one throughout a playoff series. Now he's going to be getting even better matchups, and I think that that 1-2 combo is going to tear the league apart. So it's too early to judge who's going to win the trade. Right now, I really like it for Winnipeg because I see it lasting longer than maybe the relationship between Laine, Torts, and even Laine re-upping there. What do you think, Whit?
Well, he's RFA, so they're going to have to get him signed after this year, and they definitely hold a lot of the power, although you saw with the way the game's changed, you don't necessarily have
that
extension
means nothing at this point.
Here's the thing. Like, this trade is interesting when you talk about true hockey trades, and I actually think it helps both teams. I think both teams do get better. Roslovic can be a real changer there depending on who they pick in the third round, right? It's years away from being able to figure it out. And yeah, people say, like, you can't decide the winner yet. You can't decide the winner for years. I mean, how many times did you hear Subban Weber, who won that trade? Now it seems to be leaning
Correct.
Weber. It's like, who knows? Things take years to develop and looking at trades, but Roslovic is going to get a way better opportunity and a bigger chance. He's probably fired up being a hometown kid. The other two, Dubois and Laine, they've both made it clear that they weren't happy where they were. I think the way Dubois went about it was kind of crazy to see a young guy, man. Like, once that shift came out, his last shift as a Blue Jacket, and I mentioned before the year, show up and do your job, and it doesn't really matter if you want to be traded. It just matters what you're doing in those 60 minutes in practice and training. He was blatantly fucking dogging it.
Yeah.
You're like, all right. I mean, I guess it's kind of an odd precedent. If a young player and he just signed a 2-year deal, if he doesn't want to be there, that's what you can do. But it's like handling it one way. He you know what? This is the thing. You want to argue my point. He got his wish.
Yeah.
Whatever he did worked. But
sometimes you got to be the asshole, right?
Yeah.
force the hand a little bit.
I couldn't believe that shift, you guys.
That's tough.
That was fucking crazy. That was an NHL player.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. I mean, that's just because I thought Yamo's under no obligation, but even that shift, it was like when a guy's doing that, how do you justify putting him in the lineup? So,
and then if you're going to start sitting him, it's like, all right, you're only hurting your team. Get him out of there. So we'll probably never know. I think maybe his dad being in Winnipeg and being a part of the organization really did help, and that was one of the places he wanted to go. You heard Montreal was really interested. I think there was tons of teams.
That Burger fan was probably like torn because you got a Pierre-Luc Dubois in fucking Montreal. It's like, forget it. The streets are St. Catherine Street running with fucking Montreal Jizz fan jizz everywhere if they fucking hear that. But it's like, dude, that team is fucking humming right now. Why would you want to fuck with that chemistry?
Yeah, and they're probably asking for either Suzuki or that, or is it Ramanov? Is that how you say his last name?
Romanov, I think.
Granelinov. But yeah, I'm like I said, I'm happy for both guys. From a hockey player standpoint, and from if I ever had to watch a teammate do that, yeah, it'd be a little bit difficult.
I wonder what those guys think of him. I wonder if they're still good buddies, or they're just like, what a prick. We'll probably find out in a way that will never be on Chiclets, but it is interesting to see. He made a case about not wanting to be there, and then he stood by his guns and full blown threw it.
Yeah, and like I said with Jody, it's like Winnipeg isn't exactly a place guys are like dying to go to, and he went there and he's fine with it. He seems to be happy. It was may well end up stay there.
It was like the end of Shawshank. Oh, Jesus Christ!
Hashtag Shawshank.
It's like the end of Shawshank Redemption when he gets out of the prison. That was like his interview on Sportsnet when he's looking up and he's like, "Oh my God, I'm going to Winnipeg," and it's just like, bro, have you ever?
You're going to Winnipeg, man.
In that interview too, Biz, he did, I mean, we talk about Torts, obviously a huge factor, but he had nothing but good things to say about him. He said, he's a hard coach. I can take it. Nothing personal. I grew up with a dad who's a coach, and he told me if a coach challenges you, it's never personal. He just wants what's best for you. And that's how I see Torts. And I have nothing but respect for him. If it's lip service, either way, he still said it. So, I think there's some validity to it, but I think it was just more than Torts.
I think that Paul Maurice definitely has moments when he can be hard on guys. Yeah. And having said that, Laine's never experienced anything like what he's about to experience. And maybe this takes him to the next level as a player. Maybe Torts holding him so accountable and getting on him. And who knows, the kid could shut it down or the kid could light it up. It really, either one of those scenarios really doesn't surprise me. But if he does start giving that extra effort every single game, like the way Torts kind of forces the whole team of Columbus to play, imagine how dangerous he could be.
Yeah.
And now in the power play, he could help a ton.
And if not, you get a little Ernie Els action on the team flight. Laine and Torts. Put the fucking bull in the ring. Put the helmet and cage on.
Well, you got to think the gloves out. The Yamo connection will be huge as far as him staying there going forward. I mean, He's known him since he's a kid. They're from Finland. There's definitely a bond there. And I mean, if there's a guy who can kind of get that out of him that would want to stay there, you got to think of Jamo Kekalainen.
I'd be lying if I didn't like to see some drama between Torts and Laine. But if it all works out, hey, happy for him.
And I got another note here, too. This is from Down Goes Brown on Twitter. Before yesterday, the last two top 3 picks from the same draft were traded for each other was back in 1995. Number 1 pick, Brian Barad, and number 2 pick, Wade Redden, was swapped. That deal happened on January 23rd, 1996. Exactly 25 years to the day is the Laine Dubois trade. That's crazy, man. That's just some serendipitous shit.
That's when you know that there's a Wizard of Oz back there working all this out. It's crazy.
Truman Show. It's all our lives. Truman Show.
All right, boys. Well, we did mention we have Jody Shelley. We're going to bring him on shortly. But first, I got a couple sandbaggers who wanted to talk to you for a second.
Yep, that's right, R.A. I want to talk to you about Taylormade. And it's pretty clear that hockey guys are golf guys, especially us, sandbaggers, Biz. And we're pumped to be sponsored by Taylormade. So Taylormade has announced the new Sim family of products. The Sim 2 drivers, fairways, rescues, and 3 new sets of irons are here. So big-time new technology here. Start pounding the ball. The new Sim 2 and Sim 2 Max drivers were reconstructed to make it more forgiving while giving you more pop. These guys just look like rocket ships when they're in your hands, and they truly are like having a cheat code. Like we said, Tyreek Hill, same with the Sim Woods. The Sim 2 fairways and rescues are actually designed for you to really take it low, because that means the lower the score, the better in golf. Taylormade brought back its iconic V-steel design. So all of you who say, I can't hit my 3-wood, my 3-wood stinks, you should be excited now, because now you will be able to hit it. But what good is a new driver or fairway without a great ball to go with it? Without the high tour price tag, the huge bill at the end. No, now you get sick balls for less money. And the tour response is for those people who have always wondered why those high priced tour balls are what they are, and you're afraid to pull the trigger to buy them. These are for you, and you can even get them branded with the Chiclets logo at the Barstool store. So check it out, Taylormade and the Sim 2 fairway woods, driver and 3-wood.
And I'm going to get decked out in all brand new custom fit Taylormade clubs, and I'm going to eventually break 80. That's my goal. I think I can break 80.
We're looking to break 90.
Okay. We'll start with 90, and then we're going to break 80.
Let's start with 90.
So shout out to Taylormade. Thank you for the sponsorship. And those Chiclets balls are money. You're gonna find about 35,000 of them at True North in the desert. So just if you don't want to buy any and you're too cheap, just go look through the desert. There's probably about 20.
All right, folks. And now enjoy Jody Shelley. Oh, it's a pleasure to welcome our next guest. This guy was undrafted and went on to become one of the toughest customers to play in the league this century. He had over 200 penalty minutes for 3 straight years and led the league one of those years. These days, you can catch him on Fox Sports Ohio covering the Columbus Blue Jackets, and he joins us today to help us make sense of the big trade. Thanks a bunch for coming on, Jody Shelley. How are you, my man?
Good, man. Good to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Good to see you, too. It's been a while. So we got to jump right into this trade. Obviously, Pierre-Luc Dubois to Winnipeg. You guys got back Patrick Laine and Jack Roslovic. Was this something that was ugly behind the scenes, or was all the ugliness pretty much public?
You know what? I think it was pretty much public. It's not very often you hear the head coach say, this guy wants out. He signed a 2-year deal, a nice deal, and moments later you hear that there's rumblings he wants to be traded. And, it was kind of surprising for everybody, I thought, right away. And then I honestly didn't believe it to be true. I'm one of those guys that's maybe too much of an optimist sometimes, but I'm like, no, that they'll work it out. They'll work it out. But then the more you hear, you're like, wow, this could really be true. And then it all kind of played out in front of us. I mean, we watched Dubois practice and play for a week before his last game, and you could tell he was sending a message to his teammates. And it kind of like, everyone knew he wanted out. They addressed it in front of the team. He spoke, and then just what he did. He didn't go out and play hard. He didn't go out and hold up his end of the deal. So we saw the whole thing happen, and then when the trade finally did happen, that's a big trade. I mean, that's a big deal. We don't see a lot of trades. We get excited for trade deadline day, but that's a major deal that someone would trade Patrick Laine and Pierre-Luc Dubois with Roslovic. So it works out for the Blue Jackets, I think. But the way the whole thing shook out, it was messy, and you saw and heard everything I think we needed to hear.
It was definitely odd and just so weird to see that young of a player just be like, I want out of here. It's like it sets a weird precedent. And I had said earlier that if you're playing as hard as you can and you're playing great, even though the news is out there that you want to trade, teammates will respect you. But it was obvious once we saw, I think that Spittin Chiclets put out the shift, the one that got him benched the other night, his last shift as a Blue Jacket. It was pretty blatant, huh? Like he just didn't give a shit.
Did he have his skates tied?
The old trick. I don't know. Who's ever sat on the bench without their skates tied? But yeah, you know what? That shift was just kind of summed it up. And when you look at, if you go into any work, you go into any job and say, you know what? I don't want to be here anymore, but see you guys tomorrow. I'll be here and I'll be here to work. I think you can get away with it in hockey because for some reason, you don't talk about it on the bench. You don't talk about it in a battle. If you see a guy that's just going out there and just going hard and scoring goals and crushing people like we know Dubois can do, then it's different. I think you can live with it. He gets away and takes care of his business. But when you see what he did on that last shift, yeah, that's when you're like, okay, we're trying to do something here and it's time to move along.
You mentioned there was zero signs of it before he signed his deal. I know it ended up being a fair deal, and I would imagine in his mind, he's like, let's get locked into a decent average. That way he's easier to move at 2 years at 5 per.
I don't know. I don't know. It's a deal where he's a better asset to trade, I guess, if he's signed. And he's a player that, He's a restricted free agent. He's agreed to sign and come to camp. He's got to be in camp to be able to play with us. So I think it was a great bridge deal. I mean, the Blue Jackets would have loved to have had him long term, but it sounded like the longer it went, the hairier it got. And then after that, when he got here, by the time he did show up, that's when everything had kind of turned and things got sour. So, yeah, I would just say that he had to be signed to be here, and that 2 years made it attractive for him to get picked up.
I mean, there was some rumblings of the relationship between him and Torts wasn't that great. How much of it do you think that impacted his decision to move? Because he wouldn't come out and flat out say it. Right.
I think it had an impact. I think he's a young player that had great opportunities here. I think with the break and the length of time being not signed, I think he just looked at himself and thought maybe he was crossed or something by Torts. Which, you know what, it was shown on TV in Toronto in the playoffs. Torts yelling at him. We've all been yelled at. So I just think it kind of built on him. But I also think this is a player that realized that maybe, like, I heard all the things about offer sheets. I heard about different deals in different spots. I think Torts being hard on him maybe had a little bit, but I think there's other factors like attractiveness to get to another market. Hearing from outside sources that, hey, you could be here and play for this. Biz, everyone talks. You hear all kinds of things from everybody, girlfriend, agent, wife, mom, dad. And then when you paint a different picture and someone believes it, well, it looks like that's what happened with this kid.
I don't know this kid at all. And I find it hard to believe that, all of a sudden he's just like, I don't want to be here. Whereas if you look to what could have happened in signs, maybe to him, he's thinking, all right, they're going to offer me a big, huge deal, like right when they can. And nothing really happened, and maybe like if you have an ego, you're just like, oh, that's enough right there. Like they don't respect me. Who knows? I wonder if it'll ever truly come out, but it's got to be exciting as an analyst for you and the players and the fans. I mean, not only you get back Laine and you've seen his high level and what he can do is big time, but Roslovic hasn't really had much of a chance. I know a little bit last year, but a local kid. So they got to be thrilled with what ended up turning out here as a good return, a great return.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Laine is a superstar. I mean, he's a guy that shoots the puck. And all the talk is, can he play for Torts? Listen, he'll play fine for Torts. Torts is a guy who's had a lot of stars. This kid has a great skill set. The Blue Jackets have a tough time scoring goals. Their power play is struggling. And then you bring home a local kid who grew up here. His idols played for the Blue Jackets. You know what I mean? Roslovic is a great story. He's got skill. He played center in Winnipeg, kind of ran out of room there in that position, had to move to the wing, played on the fourth line. So all those things kind of added up. You got to love the return. It didn't diminish the return what Pierre-Luc did. He goes to Winnipeg where his dad's a coach in the minor leagues there. He spends time in Winnipeg, and then we got a local guy. Plus, I think a guy who's exciting to watch and exciting worldwide. We don't get to see him much because he plays in Winnipeg, but in Columbus, we're going to love this kid, I think.
Yeah. Pierre-Luc basically turned into Peter from Office Space. Like, what was it you say you do here? Like, just completely loafing on the job. But what I wanted to ask, if it wasn't strictly Torts, we hear nothing but good things about Columbus on the show, the city, the fans. But, Panarin left, Bobrovsky left. Now Pierre-Luc went to Winnipeg, which is a place a lot of guys don't want to go, and he seems happier there. Is there an issue with the team keeping this talent? And if so, is it strictly a Yamo thing, or is it a Columbus thing? Any insight there?
It's definitely not. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, all the situations, you go back to Nash, he left, you go back to some of the other situations, they're all different. And this is a young kid who fell out with the organization. Maybe definitely something to do with the coach and what he saw. But this is unique because they drafted him. They had him here for just 3 years, and then he decides to go on. The city of Columbus is incredible. I mean, we don't have the mountains and the ocean, but the people here, the industries that are here, it's one of the fastest growing cities in the United States. It's a major sports market. The Ohio State Buckeyes, over 100,000 fans in the building. I've never seen anything like this place. And it's unique in the sense that, we don't have the hustle and bustle of a big city, but we got everything you need in it. And it's a special, special place. We got 13 local alumni now. I would say it's like, in my opinion, it's probably a little like St. Louis. I don't know much about St. Louis. You guys know, you go to the Westin, you stay downtown, you go to the rink, you get out of town, and you don't know anything about it. But they got one of the best alumni there because the people, the suburbs, what it offers to their players. So there is nothing wrong with Columbus as a market, not an organization either. These guys, Yarmo works his butt off, and He's done a great job. He's competitive, and he was happy. I love his comments about getting the number 2. He moved from number 3 to number 2, so he wasn't disappointed at all.
little shot there, getting his Finnish buddy over there. Max Domi made some comments. He said he got over there in training camp. He said like the culture in the locker room is like something he'd never seen before. Obviously, the whole team seems to embody what Torts is about. So other than this incident, it seems like everybody's really happy to be there, and they're pulling the rope the same way.
Yeah, that's a good point, Biz. But, sometimes these locker rooms that say, oh, the guys are so great, I love the guys, it's not the best place to be. You know what I mean? It's a good place for fun. But I think it was like that before here. But now, you're right. They're all pulling them. These guys want to win. They've been together a long time. Foligno, Jones, Werenski. There's a Boone Jenner. They get it. There's a certain way here. You can bring in a bad egg like Detroit used to be, chew him up and spit him out if he's not going to go the way that the team goes. You know what I mean? And I think they have that culture here. So for Domi to come in, this is a guy who's, he's a high-profile guy. He's a guy that brings some skill in here, and it seems like he's grown up a little bit. And I think he's had a good point here for the Blue Jackets. And I love those comments because that's important to have a guy to come in here and buy into what's happening. Otherwise, he wouldn't be here very long.
Just a quick one to hop in. How's he been since he's been there? I know it's only been 6 games he's played, but is he fitting in good?
Yeah, you know what? He's a guy, when you go to a new organization, you try to be like, this is a fresh start. I'm going to be a little different. I'm going to be the guy, and that leads you to try to do too much on the ice. He's might've been trying to be too perfect with Cam Atkinson. Atkinson's a shooter. He's been trying to get him the puck every time he gets it, trying to be a little too fancy sometimes. But I think like the last game we saw him play, straight ahead, competitive, on the puck, and then his skill comes out in tight. So much better. And he'd admit his first game to now his 6th game played, he's much better. He's fun to watch too. He's got a little snarl in his game.
Oh yeah.
I'm curious. You watched Pierre-Luc Dubois at the top of his game, and kind of he's so young. Do you think he could be a true number 1 center in Winnipeg? Like, does he have all that in him?
Winnipeg's deep. They got some good centermen.
Even a couple years down the line, though, if he's there. Yeah,
I think so. This guy has never been challenged. He's been the number 1. Wemberg was supposed to be the guy to play with Panarin. It didn't happen for Wemberg. Dubois took over. Domi comes to camp, and I watched Pierre-Luc for the first couple of days of camp. This guy took it to another level. You know what I mean? Like when he turns it up, it's scary. Yeah, he's built like a swimmer. He's only 22 years old. And when he gets mad and when he wants to dial it up, he's scary. The skill set, like quick feet, quick hands, and big and rough.
So better in the battles than the shift.
I would say that shift was very telling. If you put that that would be the opposite end of what I mean. That was very clear what was going on.
I think they said going back to last year's playoff, Crosby was the only guy, and Crosby only played against Montreal for what? I think it was like 4 or 5 games they got beat out. But he, as far as puck battles, he's probably one of the best guys in the league. When he goes in, he's coming out with the fucking thing. It's
unbelievable. And like he's smart. He's worked on things where like 3-on-3, I know he commented a few times that he would let the guy come at him. Guys like you and me, Biz, we would take the bait too. We'd free hit. So we go in for a hit, and the guy was like, maybe Whit would be like, whoop, slip us off. We're in almost.
No, I'd be the one who didn't throw the hit.
I'd be row number 4, and the guy would be in front of the net with the puck. So,
unbelievable.
And looking with Laine, I mean, you've all heard, or we've all heard, like he can shut it down a little bit. Kind of been an issue of inconsistency. How long does Torts kind of deal with it if that's going on? Like, does he get a little bit of a warning from him? Like, it's tough to say if he'll even be like that, but can you see that relationship being a little weird if he does decide to take nights off?
Yeah, I think it could be. I mean, that's what Torts does. I mean, he's done it with his guys here. And so the guys in the room understand what's expected. So if he lets one guy, he doesn't let anyone get away with it. I mean, I saw Gaborik sit on the bench and the 4th line would go out and it would be shift after shift in the Garden. I'm like, it's just how it is. And he sends the message, if you don't want to pull your weight, and it's simple, work hard, play within the system. And when you're ready to get off the ice. He doesn't ask much. He leaves you alone on off days. He's awesome, but you just got to bring your work boots when you come here to play.
I was just going to ask one more Torts question. Sometimes I get the feeling that maybe some guys think that he makes it a little bit more about him than the actual team. And that's, I mean, we had John Scott on, and he wasn't a big fan at his interaction with him in New York. What's your experience with him? And do you feel that is the case? Sometimes he does tend to make it a little bit more about himself than the actual team, or?
I haven't experienced that, Biz. I've heard that, I've heard different experiences. Of course, everybody's got the different. I got to New York at a trade deadline. There were 6 of us staying in a hotel. I went there. I thought it was out of the league. I got traded from San Jose to there, and I didn't care. I went into New York with the greatest attitude because it was in New York City. I was living downtown, and I was a Ranger. It was like, get out of my way. And that served me so well. I don't know if you guys ever had that chance to do that, but it's like, when you have that attitude to do something, I didn't care. Like, I didn't dodge anything, and it was amazing. And Torts was great. I mean, it was a good way a good mindset to have, because I wasn't tippy-toeing around and trying to do different things. I just went to work, and he noticed it and appreciated it and gave me actually great ice time. And then I actually signed in Philly. It's a whole other story, but Torts, I love Torts. I love everything about him. I hate to hear those stories about him. There's probably some reasons, but my experience, it's been awesome.
I wanted to ask, I mean, he's going to his 6th season with Columbus now. Frankly, that's a long time, especially for Torts. But unlike previous stops, things seem to be fine there. Like, everything's sort of going swimmingly despite all the PLD drama. I mean, is that accurate to say? Like, there's no real drama with him?
Well,
guys in the room?
Yeah, I don't really get a full sense that there's any drama. I mean, I think guys get pushed by him sometimes, and it's not the optimal time, and that's just how it goes. But I don't sense anything. He's in the last year of his deal. I think this is up to Torts. I think Torts having the break, and this is just my opinion. He's a guy that rescues animals, horses and dogs. I think he finds a lot of nice time out there in the barn. I think that's more attractive right now than some of these long days at the rink. That's just what I'm thinking. You know what I mean? He always says he's on his back 9. He's done a great job here improving the culture, and maybe in the next few years he'll be out. But I think it's up to Torts.
They just announced a 10-year extension on Twitter here.
Thanks.
I wanted to get into your career too. I appreciate you coming on, talking about this whole situation in Columbus. And that's a place where you started. I was looking through the head coaches. You even had Dave King, who's a legendary head coach. I had him. How was that when you first got to Columbus, and what was it like from like a new organizational standpoint?
Well, it was my first crack in the NHL. I mean, it was unbelievable. I wasn't supposed to be there, but I was there, as a tough guy. And Dave King, growing up in Canada, he was Mr. Hockey Canada when I was growing up. Like, he was Mr. Amateur Hockey Canada. And after practice, I remember the veterans kind of looking over. I'd be one-on-one with Dave King doing stick handling and quick feet drills. And I'm like, I would do this. This is like Dave King Hockey School. I would do this all day. And they're all kind of like elbowing each other, like, look at this. Who is this guy over here? But I needed it, and he was great for me. And the older guys, they were giving him a hard time, but I loved Dave King. You had him in Russia, right?
No, I had him in Arizona. Well, Phoenix Coyotes at the time, and same thing with. Like, I was a healthy scratch most games. After every single practice, he would grab me. I would be doing these knee drop drills, like crossover, knee drop, crossover. I was like, where did he learn this stuff? And sure enough, all of it was from the KHL. So I was getting KHL training camp bag skates on the daily with Dave King. But as you said, like, it prepared you for games, especially being a healthy scratch or not getting as much ice time. It kind of got you to the shape that those other guys were in. So when you did get your opportunity, you were there to step up to the plate.
Well, yeah. And then, like, I got called up from the minors. I didn't, I was focused on fighting, and he's like, he didn't tell me, but he was like, if you're going to stay around and play a few minutes, you got to get quicker hands and quicker feet. So that's what he was doing.
That was his nice way of telling you, just putting you through the guillotine. Unreal.
Probably the last thing he wanted to do.
You then, you were in San Jose and Philly, stopping the Rangers. But you went back to Columbus. I don't know if you married a girl from there. Or you just once you played there to start your career, NHL career, you were like, I'm going to be here for good. Yeah.
I married a girl from here. It's been great. It's been a great spot for me too, because my parents. I lived all over Canada. My parents live in Edmonton, Alberta, which is a great town, but it's a tough sell in April when it's still 30 below. You played there with, so it's it's a great city. The people are awesome. But in Columbus, it has so much to offer. The organization's been great, so this has been a perfect fit for me.
Did you get right into the broadcasting the year you retired? Were you lucky enough, or did you have to wait a year before something opened up? How did that all go post-retirement?
Well, I was going to go to the KHL. I was thinking about going over to play with Sergei Fedorov in Moscow. And there was an opportunity with the Blue Jackets broadcast on the radio to be a color analyst. And I was thinking, well, if I go there and grind it over in the KHL for a year and come back, that opportunity might not be here. So I didn't go over there. I got in the radio and then found my way to TV, which was a really good decision.
Good for you. Well, we appreciate you explaining what happened there in Columbus. And I mean, they keep losing guys, but they keep on winning. So there's something there in terms of the team morale and what guys said in terms of example. So appreciate your insight and look forward to catching up another time. We can talk more about your entire career.
Yeah, we got to get you on. We got to get you on for the whole thing and how you ended up in Halifax for Manitoba. We'll come on and get the whole thing.
All right. Thanks, boys. My pleasure.
Big thanks to Jody Shelley for jumping on with us. He's a great guy. I was fortunate to meet him several years back here in Boston, and he's got some tremendous insight to Columbus. He's been there for a while. Great at what he does. So thanks again, Jody. We're going to have him back at some point, Jody, at some point to discuss
100%.
his career. Absolutely.
Yep.
He's, like I said, undrafted to one of the best fighters of his generation. So great story.
Also, he went to Canadian college and then started playing pro after that. So there's not too many guys who ended up going the college route. I think who was the guy in Anaheim? I think he ended up winning a cup.
I know who you're talking about. That's going to drive me nuts.
I'm drawing a blank. Well,
I'll look it up. You guys
while you think about it, hey, listen, gang.
That's a classic Biz Gurnelli right there.
This Valentine's Day, find jewelry as unique as your love with the modern convenience of online shopping at BlueNile.com. At BlueNile.com, you can celebrate all of life's special moments, from creating the custom engagement ring of her dreams to gifting a once-in-a-lifetime piece, all at prices you won't find at traditional jewelers. Guys, if you're looking to put a ring on it, I know how stressful it can be. Everybody's a diamond expert all of a sudden, telling you how many months of salary you need to spend. Listen, they've been helping people create the perfect engagement ring since 1999. They are the experts, not your drinking buddies, all right? Whether you're customizing an engagement ring or designing diamond stud earrings, Blue Nile will help you create a bigger, more brilliant piece than you can imagine at a price you won't find at a traditional jeweler. They also have expert advice 24/7 and guaranteed free shipping and returns. When you commit to a piece, so does Blue Nile, as they offer guaranteed service and repair for life. 100% satisfaction guaranteed. If you need it stat, Blue Nile can deliver overnight in most cases. So make your moment sparkle with jewelry from BlueNile.com, and Spittin Chiclets listeners will get $50 off every $500 they spend. This is a podcast exclusive that's only good through Valentine's Day, and it includes an engagement deal as well. So if you're looking for that engagement ring, boom, this will take care of you. You got to use the code Chiclets, CHICLETS. Again, that's code Chiclets. Plus, every order is insured. It ships for free, and it arrives in discreet packaging that won't give away the secret. You know, the old lady, know you're going to be popping the question, that's for sure. So shop stress-free and find your forever piece. Go to BlueNile.com today with the code Chiclets. All right, gang.
Well, Whit, you got to. Whit found it mid-ad read. Steve Ruchin. So he went to.
No, I didn't. I remembered it.
Oh, you did? You didn't even have to look it up? Look at you.
He was on a line with they had a nasty line. Who was on the line with?
I think checking line, but he was on the team that lost to the Devils in Game 7.
Okay, so they lost. But he went to the University of Western Ontario. Next thing you know, he was playing for the San Diego Gulls, and then he had a fucking 10-year NHL career. So not too many guys who were able to go from Canadian University all of a sudden playing pro in the show. So
I heard Western's one of the biggest times to ever have a time to ever drink and have a time.
Buddy.
Yeah,
so when I got pigeon tossed by Pittsburgh and I ended up getting sent home from camp. Do you remember that year?
Yes.
They told me, don't even go to the AHL, go home and we'll work out a trade. I never ended up getting traded, and I didn't have to go to the coast for another month because there's a gap. I ended up going to Frosh Week at University of Western Ontario. I ended up staying for 7 days, buddy. We're talking hat trick Sunday. It was a fucking gong show. I would say, I think they ranked all the craziest party universities in North America, and I think it landed on 4. And
Whitney party.
It's in London, Ontario. It's a time, and yes, I would say London. Yeah, I would say that's the where the craziness is at as far as college kids.
Well, speaking of time, Biz, it's time for our weekly divisional breakdown, and we're going to stick with the COVID-riddled Central Division right now. Unfortunately, there are a lot of COVID issues in this division. Florida and Dallas have only played two games each thus far. Carolina had its Tuesday game postponed and all games since. Today, the NHL updated the schedule. There are 7 games that include Carolina, Nashville, Florida, Columbus, and Tampa. They've all been kind of randomly dropped into February and March dates. And this is from our pal Chris Johnston. Florida has to play 54 games in 102 days. Dallas 54 and 104. Carolina 53 and 100. And Tampa Bay 52 and 102. I mean, guys, you guys obviously played a full schedule. I know that's a lot, but given that it's only 56 games, how much are guys going to be worn down with this type of schedule?
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, you got to hope there are a couple teams, or a team would love to see them maybe get a chance to get enough of a lead in the standings where you're getting in the playoffs, and it's like the last 10 games we can really rest some people, because as you get older, I mean, every other game, this is crazy, and injuries are going to mount up. That there's no doubt about that. This division's getting the worst of it so far. It sucks for Carolina going through that break. Florida, I mean, they haven't had COVID issues, but they keep getting screwed out of playing, correct? Because they were going to play Dallas, and then Carolina, all that's worked. But Dallas comes back and looks like one of the greatest hockey teams ever assembled the first night in a 7-0 thrashing.
Are they playing 6-on-4 on their power play right now? God.
Pavelski has 7 points. He's played 2 games. It's that team looks hungry, pissed off. And like a guy like Gurionov, he scored both games. He kind of really hopped on the scene in the playoffs on that run they had. So they got guys, and we talked a lot about I'm drawing a blank on his name, who flies around for them right now with the long flow. Rupe Hintz. And so like guys like that are like making the next step where you have Sagan out. I don't know exactly when he's coming back, but I think it's still a decent time away.
Yeah.
And so these guys are stepping up, and granted, it's been 2 games, but to have to wait to start your season and be all antsy and then get a start like they did, just trucking Nashville, that shows that they're right up there at the top.
Yeah, I'm curious to know if like this delayed start is just all these other teams are playing and they're wearing each other out, and then all of a sudden they get to step in all healthy. But I think it's ultimately going to catch up to them or any team that's not playing games. The depth is everything, and then it kind of makes you question, well, maybe this system with Vegas playing 5D and 13 forwards has to do with this, when they maybe plan on resting guys on certain games. Like there has to be some type of strategy involved if you're a coach and you want to keep your guys, full octane and healthy going into playoffs. If you do want to make this deep run, where you got to start thinking about it now. Like you're even seeing teams where their starting goalie won't even dress, right? It'll go from starting to like, let's let him mentally check out. He doesn't need to put the gear on and be on the bench. I mean, I would imagine he's still, taxi squad stuff. But in the NHL right now, they're allowing the 3 goalies, right? So that was just kind of I've seen that a few times where like the starter will go from like being a healthy scratch, so to speak. So it's interesting. This whole scheduling thing has been a bit of a gong show in the Central for sure.
And how about Dallas? I'm sorry, what? 8 of their 10 goals so far have been on the power play, 8 of 12 on the year, 66%. I know they only played 2 goals, but that's still a ghastly number if you're their opponent. Anton Hudobin got his 100th win all time, his 9th shutout. Joel Kiviranta was placed on IR, and Jamie Benn was not placed on IR. He missed a couple games with a long lower body injury. I didn't think we'd see him go down like that, Biz, but apparently we did.
You if there's anyone who loves beating the Jamie Benn doesn't eat pussy joke, it is you love that. Is it a factual thing? Did he actually say that he doesn't go down?
I mean, he either tweeted it or DM'd it, and he put it to the wrong thing, and it didn't seem like he was a huge advocate of the old kind of
like he was texting a buddy and he accidentally tweeted it.
Yeah, and it was just like not even like I was like he was like shitting on it. It's like, buddy, you don't have to like it, but I mean, don't give the guys who like to pleasure our ladies shit because we like to do it,
DJ Khalid doesn't eat pussy either. Yeah, he was adamant about saying that.
Did you see the retweet I did at DJ Khalid doing the Larry King interview? Show Larry King, rest in peace. One of the greatest interviewers. What?
How'd you get so fat? He said to him.
Yeah. All right. So he just totally ruined the story, but I'll still try it. So he's interviewing Khalid, and DJ Khaled's talking about how he wants the nice watch, the nice car. He likes to look fresh. And then right at the end, he goes, "How'd you gain all the weight?" And you know what's funny is he.
I never saw that. I saw the one when he interviewed Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, Seinfeld
flipping on him. Such a dick. He was such a dick.
He's such an asshole, man.
He is an asshole.
He's an asshole.
Dude, he's lucky.
Seinfeld an asshole?
He's an asshole.
I think he, dude. Have you ever watch his show, Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee on Netflix?
No.
It's basically exactly what I just described. He gets a fancy car that he rents or fucking owns. They pick up a comedian, they go have coffee and make jokes and stroke Jerry's ego. He just seems like such a pompous dick. And honestly, Jerry Seinfeld's fucking nothing on Larry David, if we're gonna call a spade a spade. I mean, his comedy was good in the 80s, but like without the show, dude, the show elevated Seinfeld to a level that people think his comedy is actually funnier than it is. Larry David fucking put him on the map more than
RA tried to sneak back stage to a Jerry show and he caught him. So
I just think he's overrated, dude. People talking about he's one of the greatest stand-ups of all time. He's not even close, dude. His show is great and it's iconic and all that.
Oh,
but his stand-up is fucking run-of-the-mill G-rated bullshit.
Did he not just release one fairly I want to say like within the last couple of years, he put one out, didn't he? And it was not very good, unless I'm thinking about a completely different comedian. But there was also that part, remember the red carpet, excuse me, when the girl came up, she's like, oh my God, I love Jerry Seinfeld. Can I have a hug? And he's like, no. And he's just had a lot of moments where he's been a complete asshole.
Yeah, well, Larry David's proven he can
do it without Jerry Seinfeld.
He can be behind the scenes. Yeah, exactly. He can be behind the scenes on Seinfeld and then actually be still the star on Curb, which is way better. I'm a big Seinfeld guy, though. But back to Larry King quick. Biz, he did 50,000 interviews, they think he did in his life. Do you know how many interviews that is? And he mentioned a bunch of people wrote little things about him. They said, like, he always said the shorter the question, the better the answer. And I was like, wow. I was like, that's great to know, right? When we're interviewing people, we just interviewed Jody Shelley. I asked him 2 questions. It took 3 minutes to get the whole question out. It's like, it's true, though. Yeah, ask a short question. How'd you gain all the weight? DJ Khaled probably told him every fucking Hostess donut he ate for the next 3 minutes after that.
So how old was he when he died?
He was old.
87, I think.
Okay, so if you went 80 times 365, that's 30,000, 29,200. So he was doing 2 interviews a day or 3 interviews a day for.
I don't know. It said this. Did you see that 50,000 interviews already that they think he did?
It sounds about right. I mean, and it's funny. It's talking about like short questions, and I agree. Sometimes short are better, but I think when you have an audience who might need a little background, because I am the king of the fucking long question here. I think sometimes you got to tell people.
I wasn't going after you.
I know you weren't. No, I know you weren't.
Sometimes I ask the guests questions, and like by the end of it, they're like, "What?"
I ask a question so long that sometimes while I'm talking, I forget the question that I haven't even gotten.
Yeah. Same here.
No, you can't assume your audience knows exactly what you do, but it's funny. I was reading the Washington Post and there was a column. Larry King's long run made the case that there's no such thing as a dumb question. And that's the column I want to bring up because I think sometimes people say, oh, that's a dumb question. It's like, you know what? You can think the question's dumb, but if you get a fucking great answer, who cares what the question was? Because sometimes we ask simplistic questions and it ends up being a fantastic fucking story.
And in the Jerry Seinfeld case, he was kind of an asshole back. So what's everyone talking about? Well, that question, right?
Okay. The other thing that he said too, Biz, that was really interesting was we've talked before, like, hey, did you prepare? Like, we're interviewing this guy. And a lot of times I'm like, no. He actually said he never prepared for one interview. He goes, I wanted to be just like the audience that was going to be listening to the interview and know nothing going in. So some people said that was him mailing it in his later years, but there is definitely an argument where I've interviewed someone and I know nothing. I'm like, I'll just find out when we're interviewing them.
Well, that and like, if I know I'm going on Larry King's show, I'm going to be like, he could say like one word and I'd talk for 5, I'm trying to be as interesting as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, you're not like, okay, yeah, sure. I'll agree to do Larry King and just show up.
Yeah. He doesn't have to grind out interviews. That's very true. That's true.
That's like, it's.
No, it's funny when he had Danny Pudi on, the kid from Community, and he was like, what kind of extravagances do you have? Like a private jet? He's like, Larry, I'm on fucking DuckTales. He didn't say, Larry, I'm on DuckTales. Like, in other words, like Larry thought because he was a celebrity, he had like zillions of dollars. He's like, Larry, I'm on fucking DuckTales here. It was like another classic interview. But yeah, Larry King, R.I.P., a great interviewer, absolute
and
legend.
Back to the Central Division. Your Tampa's power play is just humming along.
Fucking, how do we segue that one? All right,
back to that
Aurora,
division.
Illinois, you're on the line. How about those Blackhawks?
I did mention, and Grinelli brought it up via text, had a knuckles. Thank you for the quick plug here, Grinelli. I said Seguin being out was, it was not only going to delay it to where he's probably, gaining full stride going into playoffs, which I believe that they'll be in. And it gives these younger guys opportunities in those positions where he would be to prove themselves. And what is Dallas noticing? they have a lot of new players that can step up to the plate and play in that top 6 role. Like, they have done an incredible job of drafting and developing guys, because every year it seems like they got a few new names where it's just like, holy fuck, like, you got another. What'd you say, Gregoryanov? How do you say his name?
Gurionov.
Like, but last year before playoffs, who's this guy? Now all of a sudden he gets it done in playoffs, and now he's having a start to the year. It's like, holy fuck, another guy who's going to put 20 in the back of the net. So Nil in the Dallas organization's done an excellent job.
Very happy for our buddy Rick Bowness after coming on after a tough loss in the Cup Finals. It looks like the team's ready to maybe go on another run after 2 games. So. That division needs to start playing a little bit, though. Right now, the Blackhawks would be in the playoffs, so you know that it really hasn't come to form yet.
They're 2-0 since we roasted
Kane,
them.
though, Kane is still scoring like these backhand. He's not slowing down one bit.
Ricochet shot, Chief. Yeah, Chicago won, 2 straight after dropping their first 4. Pius Suter, Swiss kid, he got a hat trick. His first Hawk to score his first 3 goals in the same game since 1933. Chicago fucking power play getting it done. 8 for 19 at a 42% clip. That's the reason they won the last 2 straight.
Yep.
Also, humming along here, Columbus, Brandon Dubinsky went to the LTIR, long-term injury reserve. Last week, I mentioned Bobrovsky did not start the first game for Florida. Well, I didn't know that was COVID related. That's what he was. It wasn't a performance thing. So I just want to make an acknowledgement of that. Dougie Hamilton, he had a streak of 296 straight games with a shot on goal. Well, that was ended last week. Failed to get a shot on. And how about Bobby Ryan, the first Detroit Red Wing to score 4 goals in his first 3 appearances with the team? Nice little rebound story after what he's gone through. Boys, I think it's, like I said, a very intense, tight season so far. We got 31 teams, all between 3 and 10 points. A couple surprises. Vancouver's looked rough. Jersey really hasn't. I don't know, man. I think these playoff battles are going to go down to the wire.
This league is impossible right now to hit a puck line.
Oh, dude,
I have 6. I have 6 or 7 puck line bets. I haven't sniffed one of them because everyone's so evenly matched. I think playing the same team a couple games in a row, it's like it's going to be a tight game. So maybe I go against. I've never touched a +1.5 line for huge money. It's like it makes no sense, but maybe it's just kind of going to be the way to go for me. I got to do something.
Yeah, it has been tough sledding for the puck line. I laid off the last few nights, and I actually took Sunday night off. There was a lot of games. It was just tough sledding. But, yeah, I think teams are so evenly matched. And talk about Arizona and the Coyotes. I'm sorry, Arizona and Vegas. They play four times in a row, man.
Four times.
They're going to be tight battles no matter what. But, all right, let's move along to the North Division.
Oh, sorry.
No.
You just saying they play 4 times in a row? Biz, I heard today that Bridgeport and Hartford and Providence are the only 3 teams in that division playing. Biz, listen to this. Biz, it's a 30-game AHL season.
No.
They're going 15 games against each other. You play the same 2 teams for 30 games. So the Bridgeport Sound Tigers will play 30 games, 15 against Providence in Marlboro Arena and 15 against Hartford. Can you believe that?
That's tough. Yeah, that would get so annoying. That is
like
Groundhog Day.
I was just gonna say that.
And if you're just getting chewed up,
I'm Ned.
Hey, and if you're getting chewed up by the same centerman night in and night out, like you can't like go to another team where you match up better. So yeah, that's a bit of a nightmare scenario.
Yeah. So I interrupted. Would you go North Division? Were you going to?
Yeah, I'm going to move along to the North Division. Hey, how about those Habitants, Les Habitants, Montreal? This year's Montreal Canadiens joined the 68-69 Canadiens as the only teams in NHL history to have played the first 6 games of a season on the road and get at least a point in each one. The Canadiens 29 goals for leads the NHL. I know it's early, but are you eating any?
No, I already have.
Finish.
I think I already have. I've made it clear. I tried to get out of that 1 week into the season, and I'm going to talk about a guy who's really kind of made it so that this team, I don't think they're going away, and that's Nick Suzuki. And his name briefly got brought up because I'm sure that wasn't an ask for Columbus when shopping Pierre-Luc Dubois. No chance. So this guy's a first-round pick. He's from London, lit up the OHL, and he's a first-round pick to Vegas. And when they made that Pacioretty trade, it's one of those things where you see this elite NHL goal scorer going, and you're like, oh, they got Nick Suzuki? You know, we're not scouts. We haven't seen this guy in World Juniors. We're like, oh, man, I hope he's good. Well, they knew exactly what they were doing. Some of the praise coming out of the Montreal room is nuts. And Corey Perry really never said much. I've never seen a Corey Perry quote. Just said he skated with him in London. He has every skill in the book, and he's the real deal. And then Drouin's calling him a mini Patrice Bergeron. He's like, I'm watching this guy play center. He's so responsible in every part of the arena, all parts of the ice, so that offensively he's like gifted and a wizard down low, but defensively he's grinding to be in the right side of the puck. And he's just this player who's now given them like a whole other line, right? A whole other group of forwards are going to be able to score and play better because of this guy. So Jeff Petrie leads the league in points by a defenseman. I've long said how good he was. Edmonton getting rid of him, I still don't understand that one. He's proven to be a huge top four defenseman who can play tons of minutes. And then Price. So, like, you can keep talking about him. Has any other team not lost in regulation that's played games? I don't think so.
And how about that Myers hit in the next game? What happens? Like,
exactly.
Toughness. Edmondson goes out, challenges
even when
him.
He threw the hit. Biz, even when he threw the hit right away. Evans and Cocktein and Lehkonen, boom, they both jumped in. It's like, all right, this team, there's something here.
Yep. Absolutely.
I mean, that was the response you want from teammates, Biz. But we were texting about that hit when it happened. And when I saw that first replay from above, I didn't even think it was a penalty, to be honest with you. I mean, it was
hit.
Like the DOPS said, it was a textbook hit with an unfortunate result. And the guy had a head injury.
I thought given his height, he did a pretty good job of getting his shoulder down to where it seemed like it landed like, right near this throat area where, it's not going to look good coming from that angle. But I mean, I don't know, man. That's if we're going to start eliminating that, then it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. And it's going to become a fucking gong show.
And pick your head up. Like, the guy's like skating like 3 or 4 strides looking back. I mean, I don't know. It's still a physical game.
Well, right. And people are probably just upset because he came from the other side. I mean, fucking Dion Phaneuf. Remember when he used to come, if you came down on odd man rush, sometimes you would come out from the other side. It's like they're essentially saying you can't cross over if you're the D anymore to make a big hit if the guy's got his head down. And for me, I don't agree with it. Did it look, they only showed one angle. I don't remember which feed I was watching, but now on the networks, they won't re-show the big hits, which is bullshit. I mean, because they showed one angle and it was the angle where I'm like, okay, it didn't look great from that angle, but I ain't making my decision off of that. And then they glanced over it and it was gone. So after seeing all the clips and it was like, he came from the other side. He caught him with his fucking head down. His shoulder got low enough where I was okay with it. But once again, it's just like, it's a player safety, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, shut the fuck up.
Wasn't the only hit involved with the Canadians that raised a few eyebrows. Brendan Gallagher hit Donnell Nurse Monday. I thought it was a pretty ugly hit for a boarding. I mean, the farther you away for a guy, you hit a guy boarding, it could be way more dangerous or at least dangerous looking. But he didn't get a fine or any supplemental discipline. But, of course, if you look back the game before that, what's-his-face, Nurse hit Gallagher in a similar fashion, although much closer to the boards. Neither one of them was penalized, but did you catch either one of those hits?
I saw the one Gallagher threw. It was definitely like he knew what he was doing. And,
one of those
that is not what is the saying? That is not a tree you want to start climbing up. I'm making that up, but he wants nothing to do with Darnell Nurse.
No,
nothing to do. That guy is a machine. So Gallagher doesn't care, though. He's a rat. He'll get in your face, do what it takes, and he probably was pissed off about the hit he threw on him. But like we said with Montreal, they're all doing that. They're all playing a certain way where they're fast and they're hard to play against.
Since we're on the rat subject, listen, Kachuk, I don't know if you guys saw it, in front of the net, Campbell makes the save and he gets like pushed. And next thing you know, he's got both his knees on Campbell's back, just
climbs
swimming.
On like the monkey buzz.
And then after the game, he's like,
Bogosian was so pissed.
After the game, he said something like, it's Bush League of you guys to even, this is typical with me. You try to say I'm doing it on purpose.
I'll say this.
I was trying to score the tying goal, which unfortunately didn't happen for my team, which is pretty legit. He's
kind of got the Corey Perry syndrome where he just so happens to find himself in those situations. And he's like, what? I was just playing hard and I got pushed on the net. But I'm curious to know if Wayne Train is going to be knocking next game against, I think they're playing again, tonight?
NHL's Ottawa and Winnipeg are the only game on Monday night. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's the only. Yeah, he's like the NHL's Oracle. Didn't I do that?
Yeah.
Speaking of Toronto, Mitch Marner, he's got 10 goals. 10 points so far. He leads the league, tied with the league lead. Jumbo Joe Thornton has gone to the LTIR. He's out with a fractured rib. Austin Matthews missed Friday's game for precautionary reasons, but he came back Sunday. And the Toronto power play biz at a 9-for-22 clip, 41%. Pretty good stuff. I mean, they should with that talent. Yeah. And Wayne Simmons got his first goal at Maple Leafs. It was his 100th power play goal and his 500th NHL point. Congrats to the Wayne train on that. But Connor McDavid, I don't know if you guys watched him Sunday night. He didn't score, but he doesn't need to score to be dominant. 23 minutes, 24 seconds of ice time. This is from Dmitry Filipovich, who's a great Twitter follow. He had 3 primary assists. He set up the tie and goal with 3 minutes and 5 seconds left, set up the winner with 0.8 seconds left, drew 2 penalties, 7 shot attempts, high danger chances, 11-3 with him on the ice. I mean, we're going to stroke him off every episode, but that was just a performance by him that, I don't know, in line with what
that gets me horned up enough to get in the analytics. That
exactly,
fucking stat
dude.
line. Get the Jurgens out.
Baby.
Quickly going back to Toronto, though, like you got to acknowledge when they've addressed things and it's worked out. Like Jack Campbell as a backup, I think he's already got 2 wins. He's played great in both games, and I think that was a throw-in with the Muzzin deal. So you know what I'm saying? Like you got to, they had to address to me toughness, depth, and backup goaltending, and they're getting it right now. So Leafs look really good. And hopping over to McDavid, yeah, it's that's a big end to the game because they didn't necessarily have the best start to the year, but it seems as if though the two-headed monster is starting to cook.
And it set an Oilers team record. It was before they had 2 guys score goals with 2 seconds left. So with technically 1 second left remaining, they that was their closest to the end of the game winner of all time. Of course, it's Draisaitl. Can't say his name, Cologne. And they looked like disheveled too because they gave up the lead late. And you're like, oh my God. And then just McDavid takes over. So their record when both of those guys get multiple points is out of this world. So it's pretty much like if you can shut down and by shut down, I mean keep McDavid and Draisaitl to 1 point each, you're fine. But once they both get multiple points, you're losing. That's how it works.
So trade for Hall of Toronto. I don't know if you guys have seen the memes going around. So both games against Toronto, I think they've been matched up, and I think McDavid's gone pointless or hasn't gotten multiple points. So that's kind of now I'm waiting for the next game because I don't know if McDavid's the petty type. So maybe he'll attack him every goddamn time and put up a 6-piece against them. So Puljujarvi, that's a name that's been coming up. He seems to have a way better attitude. He's just trying to chip in. I mean, mind you, I think he got bumped up to that top line, and he was part of that last sequence when they ended up tying it up. So he's another guy. If they're going to do any type of damage, he has to start having an impact because they got to start adding these depth guys. But he's a name that a lot of positive things being said about him in the last week or two.
Yeah, and he shouldn't just be a depth guy of where he was drafted. He was thrown on McDavid's line at the end of the game before that. And then they played the last game together, and McDavid said, he's like, it's the best game I've ever seen him play on the forecheck. That's what he's doing. He's like tenacious. He's getting in there, and he's causing turnovers and kind of just causing havoc, where then all of a sudden McDavid's getting space. And he even said, Connor in the interview, he's like, it's going to be great to see him, bang one home. At some point, he's going to just give him a tap, and that's a guarantee. So I think you're going to need to see this kid produce skillful plays and create a little bit more, but at least now he's a better skater. His English is also better. We talked about that before the season, I think. We went back to Finland and he played there, and he feels more comfortable off the ice, which only can help you playing. But to get a chance too on that top line, if you can just score a couple and really continue to make McDavid happy, where if he likes playing with you, that's not going to change.
It's like the Kunitz thing. Just work hard, make sure you're in the right areas, make sure you get him the puck, and you're going to end up it's pretty hard to fuck up if you're just doing those things, right? If you're going to put up, if you have somewhat skill, you're going to put up 40, 50 points on that line, guaranteed.
Well, we're in the midst of talking about the Canadian division right now, or the North Division. We failed to mention we're going to be bringing on one of Canada's most famous hockey journalists ever, Bob McKenzie, the Bob father, Uncle Bob. Going to get to him shortly. I know it's a little late tease, but either way, we know you're going to appreciate it. Just bouncing around the division a little more. Vancouver, man, they've lost 5 of 6. 33 goals against is 10 more than the next most goals given up by a team. They've already used 9 defensemen, even though one of them's Quinn Hughes. He's already got 60 points in 78 games, the 5th quickest to get to that number in the last 35 years. But Vancouver's struggling out of the gate, boys.
They look lost right now. They're just all over the place, just like no identity. Our boy Petey has not got off to the best start. I just read something that he switched agents with. Did you read that?
So he went to Paperson and is it JP Barry?
I think so, yep.
And that ironically is the same agent as Quinn Hughes, same agency. So now these guys' contracts are ending at the same time. Or is it the same time? Either way, they'll be ending close to the same time if it's not the same year. And it does change leverage a little bit, right? Where you got both these guys going together. It will change the whole dynamic. Whereas you're not going to have, if you had one guy sit out to start a year, it's not ideal, but it could happen. You cannot have 2 guys sitting out. And with them being with the same agency, one of them's not going to sign and the other guy will. You know what I'm saying? If
brothers,
you got to get both of those dudes done. So that changes it a bit. They lost Markstrom. I said that was a downgrade in net. They got Holtby, and the team. We said that it would probably be a little bit of a down year. At least I did. I didn't think that they would have the same group as last year, just based on what they lost. Look how good Toffoli's playing. So he's a guy. And granted, he wasn't there the whole time, but I just think that if you look at a team that was kind of destined to take a little bit of a step back, it's them. And it's so early in the season. And when Pettersson gets going, it's like things could completely change. But right now they don't look good.
Yeah, they don't have anything going, and the move, some of the moves they made. When you get new guys, it takes a little while to get adjusted, right? Like, the guy behind you, how's he playing the puck to the defenseman? Now you got Schmidt in there who's lugging a lot of ice, who, he's got to fit in and somehow find a way to work himself, better in that system. He hasn't been off to the hottest start. So all the pieces that they lost and that they've replaced, they haven't worked out yet, and including maybe not as much production from some of the young bucks, but it's like you said, Whit, it's still very, very early in this the North Division.
Yeah, there's tons of time, man. And that's the thing is, like I said, teams might be having a hot start or not a hot start. But Ottawa, they won their first game, a lot of positivity, and they haven't won since. But, there's still a 2-3 game winning streak from being right back in the thick of things. So, we'll keep an eye on everything as we always do. And listen, everybody wants to keep their home and family safe, especially these days. Whether it's from a break-in, fire, flooding, or a medical emergency, Simply Safe Home Security delivers award-winning 24/7 protection. With Simply Safe, you don't just get an arsenal of cameras and sensors. You get the best professional monitors in the business. They get you back day and night, ready to send police, fire, or EMTs whenever you need them right away, straight to your door. If you're like me and you don't even own a toolbox, I'm not. I don't like screwdrivers, hammers, just not my bag. But either way, don't fret, because hooking this stuff up is super easy. Simply Safe has an arsenal of cameras and sensors that protect every inch of your home. You can set it up yourself in about 30 minutes. It's super easy, like I said. And then Simply Safe's professionals take over. They monitor your home 24/7, and they're ready to send help immediately whenever there's an alarm. Plus, with Simply Safe, there's no long-term commitment, no hidden fees, and no installation costs. Right now, our listeners get a free home security camera when you purchase a Simply Safe system at simplysafe.com/chicklets. That's SIMPLISAFE.com/chicklets, CHICLETS. You get a 60-day risk-free trial, so there's nothing to lose. Visit simplysafe.com/chicklets for your free security camera today. Once more time for the people in the back. That's simplysafe.com/chicklets.
Nice. All right. Great execution there.
I'm getting good at it finally after 5 years. But boys, this was a personal thrill for me. Bob McKenzie. There's nothing to add. Let's go to Bob McKenzie.
The minor hockey league story is a 20 out of 10.
Yeah. No complaint here. All right. Without further ado, Mr. Bob McKenzie. Well, it's a real honor to bring on our next guest. For my money, he's the best hockey reporter the sport has ever seen. Over the last 40 years, you've read him in print and online. You've seen him on TSN and NBC, and you've heard him break down the draft and free agency with equal aplomb. Thanks so much for joining us on the Spittin Chiclets podcast, Bob McKenzie. How are you doing, my friend?
Excellent, RA. That was a very fine introduction. Well read. You used some really big words to plumb. So it's obvious that Biz has been helping you out with that.
Oh, you're taking shots already? Okay, Bobby Margarita.
We'll get into this. Bobby Margarita.
I was going to say, which nickname should we have given you off the hop here? Because I hear that you create one, what alcohol you're drinking at the time. Bobby Margarita being a more famous one online, of course.
Yeah, and the funny thing is I drink a lot more wine than margarita, but the 1 year after free agency, it was like July 1st, free agency, it's over. I get to the cottage and I just for a lark, I might have mixed up a margarita and on Twitter, I just changed my name instead of Bob McKenzie, at TSN Bob McKenzie, it just said Bobby Margarita. And everybody kind of went nuts and it kind of stuck. So it's actually kind of funny, but yeah, I've had a lot of nicknames, some of them not so complimentary over the years, but that's one of them.
You must be switched over to the Reds by now, though, with the weather cooling down a bit.
I stick with Reds year round.
Bob, yeah. I heard that you can give the advice on any great bottle of wine under $50, and considering how well your career's gone, you have not turned into a wine snob.
Oh, I'm a bit of a wine snob, but not a big one. I don't know that much. I know what I like, and I try to learn more and get more involved. I'll tell you what I am is this is a bad thing to admit, but I'm a wine glass snob. I would rather drink a $30 bottle of wine out of an $80 glass than an $80 bottle of wine out of a $30 glass. So there's these glasses called Zalto, and they're one piece, and the stem is really thin and they're really strong, but it really enhances the douchey wine drinking experience.
So not a mason jar?
In fact, no, not a mason jar.
Okay.
Although I've been known to drink rum and cokes out of a mason jar. So, but I've got one of these, and there's another one. They've got different types. This is way off topic early on, but what the hell, here we go. It's an actual glass that doesn't have a stem, and it's got a little bit of a flat spot on the bowl of the thing. So you can hold onto this wine glass and swirl it, and it's got like just a little knob on the bottom, and it's got a flat spot on the side, so you can lay down on a 45-degree angle with the wine in it, and it sits perfectly. And my pal Frank Saravelli at TSN thinks it's a great glass, and he said to me, that glass has just the right amount of douche in it. and it's so true. I still love it.
Oh, that's my type of glass, Biz. That's my type of glass. Biz would drink Camus out of a Solo cup, so you don't even worry about him.
We're already making them with Chiclets logos on them as we speak.
We'll have you sign a couple like there's some of your books.
But I can't believe I'm on with like a legend that has I sent Whit a month or two ago. I was driving from where I live on Balsam Lake into TSN, and I was driving right through Port Perry, and there's a place called the Trading Post there, and they've got a big billboard out, and it's usually like, coconut shrimp, $3.99 a pound or whatever, and it blazing in big letters. It's like, we have Pink Whitney here. So I took a picture of the sign and sent it to Whit because I knew he'd get a kick out of it. I said, "You truly are a legend.
You made it.
Yeah. Even in Port Perry, you're on a goddamn billboard."
Yeah, Pink Whitney made it up there. You left out the part that you just ripped it right in there to grab a bottle, but I think it's funny you bring up like July 1st and get into your cabin, and for so long now you've done the whole season, the deadline, the cup finals, then the free agency. Has it always been that after that, boom, you're shutting it down, no phone? Are you putting the phone away? Are you not even checking texts and stuff?
Yeah, for the most part, but I mean, you gotta.
Exactly.
When you were on, you never fully put it away, but yeah, you would send a very strong message. And the longer I was at TSN and what have you. But actually, there's a funny story on that. So I was working at the Toronto Star and the Hockey News. I always had two jobs most of the time. At the Hockey News, they used to call me Two Job Bob because I had a full-time job at the Hockey News and later the Toronto Star and then back at the Hockey News. But I was also working like almost full-time hours at TSN. That was through the late 80s and all of the 90s. So in around 2000, it was just crazy, too much work, getting too much. And I told TSN, listen, either you guys are going to have to hire me, you're going to have to buy all my time, or I'm out of here. And so we were having a negotiation, and I put in part of the negotiation that I get 9 weeks off in the summer, that from July 2nd, the day after free agency, until the day after Labor Day, I'm off. And so one of the guy I was negotiating with was fine with it, but there was another guy at TSN, and he looked at it and he wanted to know why that was the case. So one of the big bosses said to me, "You're gonna have to talk to this guy and kind of massage him a little bit, because he doesn't think you should get the whole summer off. He thinks it's ridiculous." So I'm having that conversation, and he goes, "Okay, explain to me why you need all of July and all of August off." And I said, "Well, it's a really demanding job, and I've been doing it a long time, and I want to do it a long time. And if you don't allow yourself to recharge, the burnout factor will be really huge. And, I've got to worry about my health, and I want to do this for a really long time." And he goes, and the guy was totally unimpressed. And he's like, "Yeah, well, you know what? We all work hard, and we all work 100 hours a week, and I don't get 2 months of the year off. So convince me otherwise."
Yeah, nobody knows your name, bud.
I said, "Okay, here's another way to go about it then. I currently have a full-time job at the Hockey News, and I've got a full-time job at TSN. And if you don't hire me here, I'm quitting, and I'm going to work at the Hockey News full-time. And if I don't get the 2 months off, then I'm gone." And he goes, "Okay, I like that answer a lot better." You got it.
Maybe he just wanted to hear you say it.
And then you became the Bob father.
Yeah,
at that moment there, you got the night.
It was like the door shutting at the end of The Real Godfather.
Yeah.
Or when is that 2 RA? When the wife's looking at him, becoming like the monster.
That's the end of 2. Yeah, when he shuts the door in case
he got home that night. The horse's head is in his bed. Bob, okay, you went a little far, man. Jesus.
Bob, I want to ask, how hard is it just to kind of downshift that scoop switch after 40 years and not impulsively report on everything that you've been doing?
You know what? There's an element of that. I will grant you that after, it was a weird year to semi-retire because of the pandemic. And, I was supposed to be off July 2nd and be done, but we hadn't even had the return to play in July 2nd. And I went back and worked for a few weeks late July or early August, and then on August 10th or 11th, I was done, semi-retired. And so right after that, I was still like, somebody might call me and say, "Hey, this is going on," and I'm like, "Oh, I gotta tell somebody," and I go, "No, I don't." but it wasn't that difficult, because part of the reason why I wanted to semi-retire is because I didn't want to be a slave to my phone. I didn't want to go to a family function and worry about everything that was going on. It's all consuming, and it wears you down after a while. And so, and some of it's really fun. Like if you get a really big scoop, or it's a trade or something with a lot of juice, you're really charged up and excited about it. But the reality is, and my pals Darren Drager and Pierre LeBrun, Frank Saravalli, and the guys that do this at the other networks and everywhere else, what they're going through right now is more of what it's really all about. And that is this day-to-day hell of, okay, are we playing? When are we playing? When's the season going to start? What's it going to look like? And every day it's Groundhog Day, and you're there and you're harassing the people from the league, and you're harassing the people from the clubs, and you're harassing the guys from the PA, and you're trying to get that information. And more days than not, it's just like, it's like a death march. And you're like, this is terrible. This is a terrible way to live my life. I'm spending 10, 12 hours a day, and I got nothing to show for it at the end. And we all know at some point they're going to play and we're going to have the thing, but you're just constantly trying to figure it out.
I was going to ask, what was your favorite story to break? And then what was one that you had to hold back that was so big, but you thought that it might have burnt a personal relationship? And if you can't say it now, all good, but had there ever been one?
You know what, Biz? It's really funny. And I get asked a lot by young people in the business, or, journalism schools or whatever, when I talk to young people, what advice I might have for them. And one of the things that I've come to learn because of questions that you just asked is keep a journal, write shit down. Because honestly, and I get this question a lot since I've retired, what's the biggest story you ever broke? I don't remember. I don't remember hardly any of them. I'm sure if I really sat down and really thought about it, or went through tsn.ca, the archive stories or whatever, or my Twitter account, that, oh yeah, that was really big, or that. But now that I'm here, I don't really remember many of them. I'll tell you what one of the hardest stories I ever broke was, and that I didn't want to break, but I did, was when TSN lost the national rights to Rogers. And I was coming back from a CHL, Ontario Hockey League Stars versus the Russians in November. It was in Sudbury. And I was driving in a snowstorm down the 400, Highway 69. And I knew we were losing the rights, and I officially got it nailed partway home on that ride. And it was like a full-fledged blizzard. So now I pulled over to the side of the road in this, crazy blizzard. And I'm there with my old BlackBerry with my hard keyboard and my two thumbs. And I'm typing out tweets that basically says TSN's out of the national rights game. And so I forget how many years ago it was, probably 5-6 years ago, 6 years maybe, I'm not sure. But that was 14. That was a really hard one. That was a really hard one to break, but I had it nailed, and so I broke it.
You broke my trade from fucking Anaheim to Edmonton. So everyone knows I got dealt from Pittsburgh to Anaheim. And then I'm there, and then, we actually had a pretty good run that playoff, but then the next season we stunk. I stunk. Pronger was gone. And I'm being told, all right, well, you're not getting traded. You're not getting traded. And all of a sudden at like 2:30, you wrote, Wisniewski and Ryan Whitney in Anaheim looked to be staying put. I'm like, yes. And then the 3:30 Eastern, I don't even know how those things happened. 30 minutes later, it was Bob McKenzie, Ryan Whitney to Edmonton. I was like, oh my God.
That's how you found out, through his tweet?
Yeah.
Oh man.
So I don't even remember. Again,
no, you never would. You've done it. I mean, how many of those have you done?
But if somebody asked me, how did you break that Whit story? I probably would have said, yeah, well, Whit told me, or his dad told me.
Exactly. Yeah. Whit called right when he heard, let me know, let me break the news.
How is the old man, by the way?
He's good. He told me to say hello. For people who I guess nobody knows, but you and him became buddies at Halifax, the one of the most electric atmosphere World Juniors in the history of the tournament.
Yeah, we started there, and then I think we got hooked up at your draft, the draft party or whatever.
Yeah, so that was before that tournament. You're right. That was that summer before.
Yeah, and then we because your brother played at Cornell and my son Mike played at St. Lawrence, and they played against each other, I would be in the rinks, and we started hanging out, and we actually had Whitney McKenzie went out for a bit of a rip in Canton, New York, and
that must have been a night.
At the Hoot Owl, so it's a great spot, and I think we might have done the same in Ithaca. What were the this is what happens when you get to be 64, you forget things. But the twins at Cornell that played with your brother,
Devon brothers,
the Devon brothers,
and Chuck Devon,
Chuck Devon, yeah. So I went, and actually, and I think we might have in Canton. There might have been one in Hamilton, New York too. But anyways, lots of good times with Chuck and your dad and what have you. So give my best to him for sure. He's a great guy.
I will. They all, that World Junior also, Big Dan Whitney came up to me after one of the games. He had somehow been sitting near or with Scotty Bowman. He's like, your son's a hell of a player. He's like, Scotty Bowman said you're good. It's unbelievable. Scotty Bowman. I was so fired up.
That's awesome.
Bob, the job at its essence is pretty much the same, but the technology has definitely made it a lot easier. But are there any aspects of the job you wish kind of stayed old school?
Well, the technology's made it easier, I guess, but it's also made it harder. And when I say harder, more work. Because what happened is in the media before, like the media guys used to be just on the clock. So, and you would punch out. So if you were a hockey writer and you covered the team, you'd go to practice, you'd write your story, and you'd go home, and that would be it probably for the day. Same thing, you go to do a game. So you go cover a game, game's over, you file your story, you go home, boom, it's done. Along the way, social media, the internet, I mean, I'm so old that I remember being at the Hockey News and, the reporters used to mail their stories to us. That's how out of date stuff was. Or they'd use a telecopier, which was the forerunner of a fax. Faxes hadn't even been invented. it took either 4 minutes or 6 minutes to send a page, and the quality was terrible, but we'd get that, and then somebody would have to type it into a system at the other end, and that's how we would get the stories. So, the advent of the internet and ultimately social media turned everybody into having immediate news breaking capability in your hand. And where before the only way to find out what was going on in another city was to pick up your hardwired phone and call another reporter and on his hardwired phone and talk about what's going on in his city. And now it's like, if you follow the right people, you get real-time updates in practice. Hey, Sidney Crosby just blocked a shot in practice. He's gone to the room. Oh, everybody hold their breath. Oh, it's okay. He's back.
He just had a pee.
So it's just endless now. And so that's a good thing, I guess, for news and information. But in terms of how much more everybody has to work, I feel bad for beat writers. They used to have not the easiest job in the world, but they used to have a great job. You just go to practice, file a story, call it a day, go to the bar, and that's back when hockey players actually drank after practice. So did the media. But now it's like you're never off. Guys like Mike Russo and others, it's 24/7, baby. You got to know everything that's going on all the time.
You mentioned the earlier days. I was talking to Sean about this funny story regarding Gretzky during the series with the Leafs when he was playing with the Los Angeles Kings. You probably know what story I'm talking about that was ended up printed in one of the newspapers.
God. Oh yeah, that was. You want me to tell that story?
Oh, I want you to tell the whole thing because I think these guys are going to have quite the chuckle.
Okay, so I go to the. I'm working at TSN and the Toronto Star simultaneously. It's the 93 Stanley Cup playoffs. And part of my deal, and the Star didn't love it, but it was part of my deal was, listen, in May, I've got to go cover the Memorial Cup for TSN. We had the rights to the Memorial Cup. So I was off doing the Memorial Cup, and the Leaf series with the Kings started. And I was picking it up in... I want to say picking it up in Game 5 at Maple Leaf Gardens. So I'm just parachuted in, but I'm a pro, so I make sure I do my homework. I called. I think I probably talked to Barry Melrose and talked to whoever was the GM of the Kings at the time. I forget now, and Cliff Fletcher and Pat Burns and media people. And so I had a really good feel for what happened in the first 4 games. So I didn't feel like I was going in too cold. So it's Game 5 and it looks like it's going to overtime now. So I kind of decided before the night started, I'm a columnist. I got to have some ideas. Before the night started, the 2 themes for me were as follows. On the King side, Gretzky was playing okay, but not like Gretzky. And Dave Andreychuk wasn't really doing hadn't done a lot for the Leafs, and he was their 50-goal guy and whatever. So I had it in my mind that if either one of these guys didn't have a good game, that might be a really good column to do. So as the game wore on, I didn't think Gretzky was playing particularly well, and I didn't think Andreychuk was playing very well. So the game's going to overtime, but I'm on deadline. And so the deal is, like, you don't have a lot of time to do a column. So in the intermission between the end of regulation and the start of overtime, I basically had to write 2 columns. One if the Kings win, and one if if the Leafs win. And so I started writing, and I wrote a column about the framework of a column about Gretzky, and I wrote a framework of a column about Andreychuk. And both of them, I wouldn't say they were rip jobs, but because I'm usually not a guy that rips people crazily, but they were critical pieces. That if the Leafs lose, then Andreychuk needs to do more, or they're going to lose this series. And if the Kings lose, Gretzky needs to do more, and on. So, as I said, I felt pretty good about both columns, but it's hard to write a column that fast. Anyways, as fate would have it, the Leafs score in overtime, and so it's the Gretzky piece that goes. So now the first edition of it, I just send it without any quotes. And I thought I was being like really respectful because it's goddamn Wayne Gretzky. You better be respectful. And so I basically said, listen, I'm not saying Gretzky's washed up. I'm not saying that he stinks. I'm not saying any of these things, but I'm just telling you, he, looks to me like there's something wrong with him. But if there's not, whatever. And I did a critical analysis of some shift by shift stuff. And I said the line that was in there that really ended up becoming the touchstone was he's skating around like he's got a piano on his back. Ooh. So the piece runs. I go down to the room and I thought I better go talk to Gretz and find out if there's something wrong with him or whatever. So I go to the King's room at Maple Leaf Gardens and I'm asking him, and I could tell as soon as I asked him, he looked he gave me the little, hairy eyeball look, and as if to say, like, why are you asking that? He goes, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. Everything's good. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so I go up and I put his quotes in or whatever and send it off. So the story goes, and now we're flying the next day to LA and we're going for game 6. And I hear through the grapevine that Wayne's not too happy. And Mike Barnett's not too happy as agent. The piano on the back line didn't go over very well. And Wayne always knew everything that was said about him. And I used to joke that, Wayne had rabbit ears and thin skin, in addition to being like the greatest player that ever played the game. So anyways, the story goes, now it's game 6. And of course, that's the famous game where Kerry Fraser would tell you about the rest of it, overtime, the high stick on Gilmore doesn't get called. And we're going back for game 7 to Maple Leaf Gardens. So I can remember it's Saturday morning. And by now I've heard very strongly that Team Gretzky is livid. And I'm like, oh boy,
the guy you really want to piss off too.
Okay, all right, we're moving out of Canada now.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm like, okay. So I remember it was Saturday morning, and I can remember very clearly. I was going to get my hair cut, and the guy who was cutting my hair says, "Oh, big game tonight, game 7, Leafs, Kings," and keep in mind, if the Leafs win this, they're going to the Stanley Cup final against the Montreal Canadiens. It's going to be a Toronto-Montreal Stanley Cup final, and so I'm getting my hair cut, and the guy's going, "Oh man, it's going to be so awesome! I think the Leafs are going to win tonight." And I said, "Nope." And he goes, "What do you mean?" I go, "No, they're not going to win." And he goes, "Yeah, I think they're good." I go, "Not a fucking chance." And he goes, "Why?" And I go, "Because Gretzky's really, really, really pissed off. And when Gretzky gets pissed off, it's going to be all over." I said, "It's going to be so bad for the Leafs tonight."
Yeah.
And of course, what happened? Wayne Gretzky, I forget the goals and points. You guys can look it up. But
I know he had 3 goals.
Yeah, and
I know he had 3 goals.
And the last one, he came around from behind the net and he banked it off Dave Elliot's the back of his leg intentionally and into the net. And I still am not sure, but I have a funny feeling that he looked up at the press box briefly after he did that. But the gist of the story is that he played what he will tell you was the greatest game of hockey he's ever played in the National Hockey League, Game 7 against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
That's a great story that you're behind of that.
So now I go down to I should have gone to the King's room to let him say or do whatever he was going to do, but I'm working for the Toronto Star, and the story, as much as it was Gretzky, torpedoing the Leafs, I had to go to the Leaf room and talk to Wendell Clark and Doug Gilmore and Pat Burns and whatever. I didn't have a lot of time, so I went down and I did that, and I went into the room, and I want to say it was Mark Osborne who was playing for the Leafs at the time, and he looked at me and he goes, "This is all your fault," and he was not kidding. You pissed him off, and this is what became of it. So I'm like, okay, back up to the thing. And then I finished, put the quotes in, call it a night, whatever. So now I'm going to cover this. I'm going, and Gretzky afterwards was quoted as saying, the piano man had one more tune. I don't know if it was Gretzky. Mike Barnett, I think, was quoted as saying to somebody, the piano man had one more tune in him or something, and whatever.
I think Gretzky might have said in a post-game interview, like, "Nice that I got the piano off my back."
He got the piano off his back. So, but it goes a step further. So now I'm going to Montreal for the Cup final, Kings and Canadians. Canadians have got the home ice advantage, so they're starting in Montreal. But I wasn't there for the media day. I was going in the day after. I had something to do with TSN or something. So I was going in for the first day, and the media day was the day before. And it's not like media day now where it's like, every player.
Oh,
it's like a couple of guys get interviewed, and Gretzky, of course, was going to be one of them. And Gretz more or less teed off on me at the media day. And so I was like, okay, whatever. And
you guys won, Wayne. Relax.
And no, but hey, it all goes with the territory. And the funny story is that before Game 7 in Toronto, LA, I wrote that column that I wrote. Steve Simmons from the Toronto Sun actually wrote a column that was like off the charts more critical than what I was. And we sometimes joke about it, that I got all this attention, focus, whatever. And his kind of flew right under the radar, but that's another story. So anyways, during the Cup final, I got the strong sense that when I was in a scrum that Wayne was not talking to me or looking at me, and which was unusual because I've known Wayne a long time, and he's the best. Like in terms of media relations, you're not going to get to have the best player in the game like that be as good as he was with the media as often as he was just incredible. So I knew I was in the doghouse, and he was pissed off, but that was fine. And I went back and reread the column many times. And in fact, I cut the column out and I put it in my wallet after the fact to carry it around with me as a reminder that if you do your homework and you're confident in what you're doing, you got nothing to apologize to anybody for. The next year, I remember I didn't have occasion to run into Wayne face to face or whatever, but the next time that I did cross paths with him was when he was about to break Gordie Howe's record, and I got sent by the Star to LA, and so I was there, and I hadn't seen him or talked to him the whole time, and he broke it that night, and we're all in the room for the big media room in LA, and there's famous pictures of Gretzky. You always remember he had the white suspenders on, and he took his top half off, he took his skates off, but he had his pants and his shin pads still on. And he came into the room and he saw me and he looked, and I looked at him and I was like, oh, I wonder what he's going to say or do here. And he just came over and he gave me a little bit of a hug and he said, hey, Bob, thanks very much for coming out. I really appreciate it. It's great to have you here. And I was like, oh, great. We're all good now.
Nice.
I don't have to go through the rest of my life with
Biz, I know from experience, there's no worse feeling in the world than a reporter coming up to you and saying, hey, you injured? You feeling healthy? You're just like, oh, is it that bad?
How are the feet, Ryan?
Oh, man.
Bob, do folks in Toronto still blame you for the drought?
A lot of people do. It's funny. We had that one. Kerry Fraser and Bob McKenzie, they screwed up the dream season in '93. That was unbelievable hockey. Leaf team was so much fun to watch. Wendell and Dougie Gilmore, and oh my God, and against the Kings, and Wendell was just a beast in that series, and so was Gilmore, and that was the dead puck era kind of started shortly thereafter. That the game really took a turn for the worse. If we went through that stretch of like 4 or 5 Stanley Cup finals that were sweeps. Yeah. And it was at 95, 96 or in and around there. And, but 93 was a fantastic time to watch the National Hockey League and the Kings and the Leafs and the Canadians. And to think of the fun is even in that final, with the stick measurement and, shit like that doesn't happen now.
Oh. I read today about this Phil Esposito story. And that was kind of old school as well. I don't know how many people who are listening know this, but this was a little bit more intense than the Gretzky situation. That's for sure.
Yeah, this one got up to level. Long story short, I charged Phil Esposito with assault.
That's assault, brother.
How much time have we got here? This may be a long story if I
we like those ones.
Okay, so I'm trying to think what's the best order to tell this story in. So Phil was the boss man of the Tampa Bay Lightning, and I knew Phil. And two things I should point out. The first thing I should point out as I tell this story: me and Phil are great right now. No problems there, which is good because as a kid growing up in Canada, in the 1972 Summit Series, I was 16 years old. And when Phil Esposito went off on the fans in Vancouver after Game 4, because they got booed off the ice, I was sitting at home going, yeah, you tell him, Phil, don't be booing Team Canada. And Phil, for me, the big bad Bruins, and I love Bobby Orr, and I Esposito in the slot. So, and Phil was one of my all-time great hockey heroes, which made it that much more difficult to charge him with assault, I guess. But I was working at the Toronto Star, and I want to say it was right around the same time. I forget what year it was, 92, 93, whatever, 94, whenever the Lightning were in the league. But anyways, so Phil was getting a rough ride from what you guys, or a lot of people like to refer to as the Canadian media, which in many cases back then was always the Toronto media. And I'd written some stuff about Phil. The one thing that really stuck in his craw when I was at the Hockey News, I wrote a column and I said, time for a confession. I think Espo is a lousy GM. And it was basically a story saying that, I thought that Jimmy Rutherford and Peter Karmanos and the CompuWare group should have gotten the franchise in Florida, not Phil and the Japanese owners. And I thought they made a mistake. The league made a mistake when they did that. And then I talked a little bit about how Phil became persona non grata in Sault Ste. Marie, his hometown. I covered the Sioux Greyhounds. I'm not from the Sioux, but covered them back then. And Phil was in trouble with his hometown guys because he owned the Greyhounds, and then I think things didn't go well, and he wanted to move the team, and people were like, really upset about that. So I did write some stuff that must have ticked Phil off. But I think Phil got it in his mind that I probably was responsible for every bad thing that had been written about him since he took over the Tampa Bay Lightning from the Toronto media and the Canadian media. So I always say this is Basil McRae's fault, because Basil McRae broke his leg really badly that season. And it was after the game was over, Toronto, Tampa, Maple Leaf Gardens. I'd done my story. It wasn't a particularly earth-shattering night. The only reason I went to the Tampa Bay Lightning dressing room, because I wanted to go see Rob Ramage and get a phone number for Basil McRae to see if Basil had a badly broken leg. I wanted to see how Basil was doing. So I go down and I'm talking to Rob Ramage and asking about Basil. And all of a sudden, Phil comes into the room and he sees me and he looks at me, and you could tell he was fired up. His cheeks were red and his eyes were kind of like, and he goes, "You get the fuck out of my room." And I'm like, whoa, where did this come from? What's going on? I don't even know he's mad at me. Never mind, Raging Bull. And so I'm like, Phil, what's the problem? Like, you just get out of here. I don't want you in here. This is my room. You get out. So now I got my back up, and I'm like, Phil, I said, I'm allowed to be in the dressing room. I'm just talking to Rob here. I'm just trying to get Basil McRae's number. And he's going, get the fuck out of here. And I go, no, I'm not getting out, screw off. And he's yelling at me and I'm yelling at him. And, he's coming towards me rather menacingly. And I'm like a little bit backing up a little bit, like Phil's a big man. And all of a sudden I realize this thing's escalated. He's not messing around here. And, he comes up and he basically he would say he shoved me. I would say that he drilled me in the neck, lower jaw area with the heel of his hand.
That's a pretty big discrepancy.
Just like one of these, like hard.
Yeah, one of those. Yeah, he gave me one of the.
Let's get rough and rowdy going, G.
Hit me in the jaw, the neck, and whatever, and he knocked me down. Like
that's
I went
shocking.
down. But so I'm going back, and I managed to hold myself from going completely down. I got my arms to brace my fall. And I was there, and I was kind of like laying back like this, and Phil's like coming after me again. And I'm like, oh my. So I jump up really quick. And now Rob Ramage and a couple of other guys jump on his back, and they've got him. And I'm looking at him, and he's like trying to get at me, and he's swearing and yelling at me. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, Phil Esposito wants to kill me. What's my play here? Like, it's funny the things that go through your mind. I'd only been working at TSN for like 4, 5, 6 years, and it was part-time. So it's funny the things that go through your mind. But I was there, and I thought I might have to fight Phil Esposito here. Like, I'm not a tough guy. I'm the opposite of tough. I'm soft. Like I got cut from my minor bantam team because I was too soft, and so I'm not I'm under no illusion whatsoever that I'm a tough guy, but if somebody's going to do harm to you, you might have to stand up for yourself at some point. And so I'm weighing the thing. I had this one moment where he was right there, and I thought I could punch Phil Esposito right in the nose so hard right now because his arms were being held. It would have been a sucker punch. But I needed all the help I could get.
You would have been fucked, Bob.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. Holding yourself back.
So I all my TV money flashed before my eyes, and I decided, no, I'm not going to do it. And he's yelling, get out. And I go, no, I'm not getting out. And Rob Ramage finally said to me, Bob, would you get the hell out of here? And I go, okay, Rob, since you asked nicely, I will. So I leave and I go out, and I'm like, whoa, what just happened? So I was pretty rattled. And so I walked out, and I'm walking. I walked out by the Wood Street exit of Maple Leaf Gardens, didn't leave the building. I'm just out there, and I'm kind of catching my breath, and I'm going, okay, what the hell just went down there? And I'm like, okay. I go, I better go back and try to sort this out. So I went back in, and Phil was outside the Tampa Bay dressing room. And I go, Phil, calm down. And he looks at me and goes, no, fuck you. And I'm like, calm down. I go, let's talk about this. And that, and he goes, oh, I'm not going to talk about it. And just get the hell out of here or whatever. And I said, and he was really, angry. And I understood that. But I was like, Phil, I said, let's try and sort this out. And he goes, no, I'm not talking to you. Get out of here. And I go, okay, fine. I said, I should just go charge you with assault right now. And he goes, go ahead, do whatever you want. And at that point, he might have made some disparaging remarks about my rather robust frame. This was happening in front. I don't know if you've ever know the Maple Leaf Gardens visiting dressing room thing, but all the family of the team is like 15 feet away. Like they're witnessing this whole thing, and we're FUing each other. And I go, Phil, I'm trying to settle this, and sort it out. We've known each other a long time, but if you want me to go the other route, I said, do it. He says, do whatever you want. He goes, you're nothing. I'm Phil Esposito. You can't do anything to me. And that was it. It went off for me. And I said, okay. I said, that's how you want to handle it? Fine. And I said, and you just remember this. I said, you fucked with the wrong guy, Phil, and we'll see you later. And I walked out, and I walked around the corner. There was a payphone, and I picked up the phone, and I dialed 911, and I called the Metro Toronto Police. They answered yes, and I said, yeah, I will connect me with the police. I'd like to report an assault. And I called, and I said, hi, it's Bob McKenzie. I work for the Toronto Star, and I was just assaulted by Phil Esposito at Maple Leaf Gardens. I'd like him arrested. And
the guy's like, pardon?
And so anyways, the
Jerky Boys prank call.
So of course now he gets word that the word starts to filter out that I've done this and whatever. So I guess he went back to the Harbor Castle Weston, got his stuff, and jumped in a car and went to Buffalo.
It's on the road.
It's on the run.
Yeah. So he hit the road or whatever. And Jerry Helper, who's a great guy, he's now in Nashville. He was the PR director for the Lightning at the time. He's talking to me and says, hey, listen, can we try and straighten this out? And I said, I wanted to straighten it out. Phil didn't want to straighten it out. He got the ball rolling. So I'm sorry, this ball's in rolling now. So screw off. That's that. And so anyways, so the whole thing rolled out, and it's quite a story because after the fact, Frosty Forrestal, who was, of course, the great trainer for the Bruins, Bobby Orr's pal and whatever, Frosty started telling people Phil never touched him. He tripped on an equipment bag, and there was a whole bunch of double talk coming out. And
you had the boys club going. You had the boys club coming. It's like the Skulls at Yale.
Yeah, you want to better believe it, and that. So the Star was behind me 100%. I hired my lawyer. And this all kind of Don Cherry on Saturday night went on Hockey Night in Canada and ripped me for, this is not how you settle a problem. You settle things face to face. And I'm thinking to myself, I tried to do that and Phil didn't want to do it. So screw it.
You needed Twitter during all this. That would have been interesting.
Oh no, you do not.
No.
Thank God.
Ryan Leaf. You think that Ryan Leaf yelling at the guy's bad? This is imagine the video of this biz
exist at the time. So anyways, And then it got even more complicated because a member of the Tampa Bay, somebody who covered the Lightning on the beat for one of their papers, he ended up, if my memory serves me correct, it might have been a sworn affidavit, or if not, he certainly was interviewed by the Toronto police and told them the same Frosty Forrestal story, that I tripped on an equipment bag. And I wasn't very happy about that. So now my back's really up. So I'm taking it on the chin from a lot of people. Don Cherry on national television, everybody in hockey, you know, with the as you say, still closed society. They're like, this is not how we settle things. You don't bring outside people in to settle it internally. And I said, well, I knew in my heart, I tried to settle it internally and Phil didn't want to. And he said, I couldn't do anything to him. Well, let's see about that. So anyways, long story short, I guess at some point, the long story long is this one, but the Lightning, I guess the lawyers for the Lightning probably at some point told Phil, this could be really problematic for you, because there were many witnesses that did see it. This is dead to rights assault, whatever way you slice it. And you're a Canadian who works in the US on a green card or whatever. If you get convicted of assault, you could lose your green card. You could lose your ability to travel back and forth between Canada and the United States. So now all of a sudden I'm getting all sorts of calls from people saying, we should be able to settle this and what have you. And the Lightning were kind of reaching out or whatever. And I'm like, no, I said it's. So anyways, the court date was set. And it was the day after the Lightning were playing a game in Toronto, their next time they were coming in. And so it got down to a day or two before the game, and a number of people in hockey had reached out and said, would you not meet face to face with Phil? I said, yeah, okay, I will. Day of the game, Phil and his lawyers and me and my lawyers, we met in a Bay Street law office, and basically, you know, Phil just saw me and he goes, hey, things have escalated. They got way out of hand. I said, yeah, they did. And he goes, I just want to forget about it all. Just let's put it all behind us. I know it's been hard on you and your family. I don't want any more trouble. I don't want you to have any more trouble. And I said, well, that's great, Phil. I said, fair enough. So all you need to do is apologize. And he says, oh, I just apologized. And I said, no. And I had my lawyer had said to me ahead of time, what would it take for you to drop the charges against Phil? And I said, okay. So I had crafted a letter of apology, and it was a long letter of apology because it went to everything. Bob McKenzie did not trip on an equipment bag. Bob McKenzie did not write things about Phil's family. So there was a laundry list of 4 or 5 things that I wanted on the record, that everything, the aftermath of that, it was all bullshit, basically. And for Phil to admit that he did strike me and he did knock me down and I didn't trip on an equipment bag and that. So Phil read the letter and he looked at it and he goes, I'm not signing that. And I go, good, then go to the game tonight and we'll see you in court tomorrow. And
now you had him bent over.
And then he was like, and his lawyers are talking to him, and then we split up for a little bit and we come back and he goes, okay. And I go, Phil, I wanted to settle it that night. You wanted to escalate it. I said, you said I couldn't do anything to you because you were Phil and I was a nobody. And I go, well, now I told you effed with the wrong guy. And now here we are. And now who's got to come to the other guy to try and get him out of a jam? I said, let's get out of the jam. Just sign the letter of apology. And when we go to the game tonight, after the game, stand outside the dressing room. We'll stand there together and then we'll tell the media that we settled our differences and we're not going to court tomorrow. And he goes, yeah, perfect. And that was that. So as I say, I really liked Phil. I always liked Phil. But we had it out and he got my Irish up. And, you know, what happens when the Irish and the Italians get together, it can be no good.
Don't ask RA back in Charlestown.
Charlestown, not then.
I don't know if this is a great comparison of like scoring your first NHL goal for you. Like, do you remember your first big scoop? Like something where you remember noticeably thinking, oh my God, like I'm one of the guys in this game that's going to be breaking news.
Wait, honestly, no idea. None whatsoever.
It just happened over time where you became like the guy.
Yeah, and as I said, I should have kept notes because, you know, I'm not ever going to write a book about my career. I've written some books, but not like a retrospective on my career. And maybe part of the reason why I wouldn't do that is because I just don't have enough notes to back stuff up, and I've forgotten so much stuff, and it all just kind of runs together.
Bob, you just mentioned the books. You written yet another book. You're a pretty prolific author yourself. Your latest, Everyday Hockey Heroes, Volume 2. Tell us about this one.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, the first book I wrote was called Hockey Dad: True Confessions of a Crazy ? Hockey Dad, and that one came out like 10, 12 years ago. And that was the book I enjoyed writing the most because it was a labor of love, you know, raising my two boys, Mike and Sean, through the minor hockey system. And I sometimes did some really crazy shit as a hockey dad. But I like to think on balance that I got it figured out along the way, that it wasn't too bad. And it was a pretty good experience for me and my kids. But I really wanted that book to come out, and I sort of like, this is who I am. This is who my kids are. This is what we did. And this was the sort of the good, the bad, and the ugly, but we all enjoyed it, and it was great. Then I did Hockey Confidential, which was a series of stories about people in hockey. And I really am proud of the book, and that was 7 or 8 years ago. But the reason I did it was because I needed a new kitchen at the cottage. And so that was the money that would pay for that.
Fucking right, buddy.
And that's when I realized, you know what, when you're writing a book just for the money, it's hard work. It's not a labor of love anymore. It's just labor. And I was really busy with my job, and it really took a physical toll on me getting that book out, but I got it out. I'm really proud of it. But I said, that's it. I'm never writing another book. You know, too much work for too little money. It's great when you finish it, but it as long as I've got a job, full-time job, there's writing a book on top of that. It's just too much. I'm never ever going to do it again. And I had lots of offers and stuff. And I didn't do it. It was 3 years ago. Simon & Schuster Canada came to me and said, "Hey, we're doing a book project. We've already started it. It's called Everyday Hockey Heroes. It's stories of famous, not so famous hockey people, inspiring stories on and off the ice." They showed me a couple of chapters, and it was a different kind of book. It was about, you know, overcoming adversity, or just an inspiring story. And I like good storytelling. And Jim Lang had already started doing some of the stories, and Sarah St. Pierre is the editor. They showed me some sample chapters. I said, this is really cool. I kind of like this. And what appealed to me was, they said, you would only have to write the introduction. You'd only have to write one chapter. You would have huge input into who we would write the other stories about. And you would orchestrate getting interviews with those people, and you would promote the hell out of the book. Would you be interested? And I said, yeah, I would. And cynically, part of the reason I'm not going to lie, when I first thought, yeah, if I don't have to write that much, I can sort of be an editorial director of the book and be involved in all that with Jim. And Jim's great, and Sarah's great. So it was fun. So we did Everyday Hockey Heroes Volume 1, and it was really good, and lots of inspiring stories. And now they decided, well, you know what, 2 years later, we're going to come out with it again. So I'm really proud of the book, because obviously there's a lot of shit that has gone on in the world, but hockey as well. And we talk a lot about hockey culture, and I know everybody goes back and forth on that. And you know, hockey culture does, you know, I've been a big part of hockey culture, but I'd be the first to admit that hockey culture does need to be better, a lot better in a lot of instances. And I don't think hockey people don't need to be triggered when they hear that the hockey culture sucks sometimes. It does. Doesn't mean it's rotten to the core, but it needs fixing in a whole bunch of areas. And so a lot of the stories in this book, not all of them, but a lot of the stories in this book reflect that. And so, you know, there's stories about guys I grew up playing hockey against that were black, that didn't have the same minor hockey experience that I have in a quite white Scarborough 50 years ago. You know, there are stories about gay and transgender athletes. There's a story, but there's also traditional hockey stories. It's Everyday Hockey Heroes. So I got a story on Andrew Cogliano, and who's an everyday hockey hero. Yeah, he's the one, because he showed up every day and he never missed a game until he got suspended. And so he talks about that and reflecting the traditional core values of what we like to think hockey culture at its best: commitment, dedication, sacrifice, you know, taking one for the team, putting yourself ahead of the team, playing through injuries, playing through pain, doing all those things. So there's a real wide mix of stories there. And Jim Lang did a terrific job. Sarah St. Pierre did a terrific job. And I've learned so much about people who sometimes everybody in this book has an unbelievable passion for the game of hockey. They love the game of hockey, but in some instances, because they're quote unquote different for some reason, they were marginalized or put out to the side a little bit. And those people had to fight to get where we get to be in the middle of hockey culture, for the very simple reason we're white and we're men. Simple as that. So the theme of the book really is we just need to build a bigger tent, and we need to make sure the doors are open for everybody. And if we are men and we are white, then maybe we all need to take a look in the mirror and say, what am I going to do today to try to make it a more diverse, more inclusive thing? And I think you can do that and confront our own white privilege without being triggered by the word white privilege, which is nothing more than an observational status of you're white. And in hockey, that's not a roadblock to anything. Being a white man in hockey is the easiest thing in the world. We're not saying anybody's led a privileged lifestyle and have silver spoons in our mouth. We're just saying it's not many obstacles as a white male in the hockey culture.
That's a very fair way of putting it. Very well said, Bob. You did mention your kids, and going back to your first book, The Hockey Dad Situation. Sean told me the story about how you and this other coach weren't getting along in minor hockey, and the finals, you ended up calling a couple penalties. I'll let you know the story for sure.
Oh, you're talking the stick measurement story.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're cutthroat if you're doing this in minor hockey, Bob. Come on.
Okay, so I'll try and make this quick because I bored you guys long enough here.
No, we love these old school stories.
Okay, no problem.
Stuff.
So I was actually the assistant coach of the team, and it was my son Mike's team, and it was what we used to call the ringette round, which you wouldn't call it now because people that play ringette would get offended by it. But the ringette round was after you got knocked out of the main playoffs, you would go back and into the consolation, basically, is what it was. It was a consolation playoff. And it was the championship of the consolation. And I was an assistant coach, and my good buddy, Stu Seedhouse, who's since passed away from pancreatic cancer, one of my best friends, he was the head coach. So we're playing in Barrie at Old Dunlop Arena, which just got demolished recently. And we're losing in the third period. And we're losing by 2 or 3 goals, maybe 3 goals in the third period. And earlier in the series, in our own rink, I'd seen the stick rack for the other team, the Barrie team. And by the way, it's minor Adam. They're 10-year-olds. Okay.
It's consolation.
Consolation. So I saw the stick rack of these other kids, and they had big banana hooks or whatever. And I just thought, wow, I can't believe those kids have like Stan Mikita, Bobby Hull sticks. I never thought anything more of it. So now it's in the third period of the consolation, and we're down 3. And I said to my buddy, Stu, I go, hey, I said, let's try and get a little something going here. I go, let's call a stick measurement here. Just what every kid on this team's got, like a hugely illegal stick. And
ref's like, what?
So anyway, so Stu goes, yeah, go ahead. So I go, okay. So I send out our captain, little Kenny Henry, and I say, go ask for a stick measurement on number 8. So little Kenny Henry goes out to the referee and goes up to him, and I see him talking to the referee, and I see the referee talking to him like this, and the referee looks over at me like, what the fuck? Like, seriously. And I just look at him and I go, buzz off. Just
good job.
Measure it.
And so now Kenny Henry comes back, and no, so I see him now. I see the referee really talking to Kenny, and Kenny's looking over at the bench at me, and he's got these little eyes, and he's like, so I see him, and he goes, okay. And Kenny comes over, and I said, what was he giving you a hard time about? He says, sure, I'll call a stick measurement. What part of the stick did you want measured? And so now, the referee's trying to one-up me here, because technically you have to request, I want a stick measurement on the curve, or I want a stick measurement on the width of the blade, or I want a stick measurement on the length of the shaft, or whatever. And so Kenny said, curve. And so now the referee comes over, and he's just looking daggers at me, and he goes over to the timekeeper's bench and says, give me the stick gauge. And the timekeeper goes, we don't get a stick gauge in here. And so the referee's like, oh, fuck. So you see him, he has to go off the ice and go to the referee's room and come back with the stick gauge. So he measures the stick. It's illegal. So into the penalty box they go. Our power play sucked, but late in by the way, there was like 5-6 minutes left in the game. We're down 3. So late in the power play, we score 1. And so that's great. So now the parents and the other team, by the way, I'm on TV. People know who I am. And they're just giving it to me. and understandably so. So we're there, and I say to Stu, I go, they still got illegal sticks going on over there. I said, let's call another one.
Bob.
And he goes, really? And I go, yeah. I said, fuck him, let's do it. And so we call another one. And the referee is like looking at me, he measures it up, and sure enough, into the box. There you go. So now I'm looking over at the Barry bench. The Barry parents are screaming and yelling and cursing me out like you wouldn't believe, but it's chaos on the Barry bench. The kids on the bench and the parents are now yelling at their kid, do you have an illegal stick? And the coach is talking to their players, and they're pitching sticks up into the stands and I'm on the bench, and I go, come on, boys, look at them over there. They're on the run now. We're down one, whatever. So we like 5 seconds into that power play, we score. So now we're down one, and it's chaos. And so we're there, and there's less than 2 minutes left in the game. And so I say to Stu, you're not going to believe this, but I think they've got another illegal stick out there. The one kid with an illegal stick. I said, you want to go for the hat trick? And he goes, no, I think we're good now. and so anyways, we pull the goalie. And I'm not sure how we had a defenseman out who hadn't scored a goal all year on the ice at the time. Nevertheless, we did. And with like 7 seconds, left, the puck goes back to him. We got the goalie pulled, and he takes a slap shot. He's 10 years old, tries to take a slap shot, and of course it's a slicer, and he just chunks it, and the puck goes up, and it's bouncing, and it crazily bounces, boom, 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 and it literally bounces in front of the goalie and goes right over his shoulder under the bar with about 5 seconds left. We tie the game. And so now we come over, and the Barry team's over there. The parents are yelling at me. The coach is trying to get his bench under control. And our guys come over, and me and Stu, we're fired up now, and the kids are fired up. And so they go, Stu just says to them, boys, we got them on the run here. Just go for it. No defense. Don't even, let's end this thing like immediately. If we lose, so what? We're playing with house money. Just go for it, boys. All balls to the wall. Go get the goal. And I think like 20 or 30 seconds in, we scored the winner in overtime. So the kids go nuts. Everybody celebrates. They go back to the room. And me and Stu and my buddy Kevin O'Brien, we're shaking hands, and I could see everybody's all upset. And Barry goes to the off. So I go wheeling back towards the dressing room, and I said to the other coaches, I said, I better go over and take my medicine. So I go, I'm going to go over there. So I go over, and the other parents are there, and right away they launch in. They're yelling at me. They're swearing at me. And I said, how long have you been a parent on this team? And they go, what do you mean? I said, how many years has your kid been on this team? No, this is his first year. The guy that was yelling the most at me. I said, okay. I said, is there anybody here that's any parent that's been here on the team for 3 years? And there was a guy over there, and I could see the guy looking at me, and he's smiling. And I said, do you want to tell him, or should I tell him? And the guy goes, I'll tell him. I said, okay, good. Appreciate it. Thanks. And I turned around and I walk away. And what that parent from 3 years ago told the other dad was, the head coach of the Barry team that we were playing against in that game, in minor novice, our coach got suspended for deciding, minor novice, believe it or not, he got suspended for, I think, he yelled at a referee in the third period. So in game 4 of a best of 5, he got suspended. So in game 5, he was there. Kids are 7, 8 years old. He tied his kid's skates up before the game. The coach's son was on the team. He left the room, said, good luck, boys. And the assistant coaches took over. Somebody saw him in the room tying his kid's skates. So our team beat their team in game 5 in that same Dunlop Arena back then. And we're getting ready to start the next series, second round of the playoffs in minor novice AAA. And we get a call from the OMHA to tell us that we've been disqualified because Barry protested the game because the head coach, the suspended head coach of the Whitby Wildcats, had gone in the dressing room before the game, and that's not allowed. So I'm not calling stick measurements unless payback is a bitch.
I think that this podcast has taught that you're not a man that you want to cross.
Seriously, holy shit!
Bob, was
If I
that
ask you any questions you want taken out? I don't want to be on the hit list.
Was that before or after the McSorley stuff in '93?
Oh, it would have been after McSorley and the illegal stick stuff. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was definitely after McSorley and the Kings Montreal Cup final.
Wow, that's a fantastic story. Like you say, payback's a bitch, no doubt about that. I have one. I feel obligated to ask you. You share a name of one of the greatest fictional Canadians in pop culture history. Yep. Of course, I speak of one half of the great McKenzie brothers of Strange Brew fame. How much did you play that up 35, 40 years ago when it was a popular thing?
Yeah, a little bit, but it was more a pain in the ass initially because, as you might expect, everybody, hey, take off, Jose. Well, my nickname, like, there's a lot of guys in hockey media. Like when I was on the beat back in the 80s and 90s, that was my nickname. There's a lot of guys to this day call me Jose. That's one of my many, many, many nicknames. So yeah, I used to get that. I used to get that a lot or whatever. And after a while, it probably got a little tiring. And so, there's only so many times. But it's funny now. Like somebody will say, "Oh, I bet you get a lot of jokes about your name being Bob McKenzie, eh? Take off, eh?" And I'm like, "Yeah, not for 20 years, buddy."
Can I admit I don't know what you guys are talking about right now?
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a Canadian thing.
It was an SCTV thing. It was Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas, and they were.
I know those Canadians.
McKenzie,
I know those.
Monks
okay.
in a beer bottle, take off, eh?
Yep.
And the Great White North, and which was hilarious. And it was really funny because I was coming back from LA. I was coming back from LA to Toronto, and I was at LAX, and I was in the Air Canada lounge, and I ran into Dave Thomas, and I introduced myself to him, and I said, "Hey, thanks for nothing." And he goes, "What do you mean?" And I said, "My name's Bob McKenzie." And he goes, "Well, don't blame me. That was Rick Moranis, not me." And we laughed about that. But,
that's awesome.
Unbelievable. I got to ask you about your music taste. Now we're going to go two different places. Let's start off with Pitbull, Mr. Worldwide, another one of your self-given nicknames. Whit, this guy at the cottage when he's chucking weights around this little weight room in his garage, loves to bump it to Mr. Worldwide.
Yeah, I think I did it more than I will say this, that the Pitbulls, there's one particular Pitbull album in particular. It's an entirely Spanish. There's no English. It's called Dale, and there's a really catchy tune on it that I liked. And when I was on, I got a Concept 2 rower, so when I'm on the rower, that tune really fires me up. So I would play that like really loud in the garage. Now, Mike and Sean would be at the cottage, and they would like Biz. It would be like that moment that I fell in love with you on Twitter when you tweeted out, "I'm looking at my dad right now, and he has his shirt tucked into his underwear. I need a new dad."
Yeah.
Okay. So
that's you.
So Mike and Sean needed a new dad when they see me out there on the rower with the Pitbull going. So that's really I probably play it up bigger than it is. It's Il Pensis de Villa or something like that.
And it's
Spanish?
Like
it's all Spanish, and it's on the it's on the.
You're like the Meet the Fokker dad. You're going to be like Mamba-ing.
You're going to start calling him Bobby
now that
X.
You're half retired.
Yeah, it's
the Pitbull
a
tracks.
really cool song, and I'll get the official name for it here.
Okay, Tragically Hip was another band I wanted to talk about.
Oh my God!
I've seen some of your Instagram stories, and you got that bumping in the garage as well. I know you were also pretty close to Gord Downie, were you not?
Yeah, I got to know Gord and the guys in the band a little bit. Back in between the Up to Here, which was their first full album. Their very first release was considered an EP, but it was an album. It was just called The Tragically Hip. But then the really launched them to national stardom in Canada was the Up to Here album. And then came Road Apples. So it was between Up to Here and the release of Road Apples, and they were playing the concert hall at Yonge and Davenport in Toronto, right across from the Canadian Tire. It's also known as the Masonic Temple. And I love the Hip. I love their music. The first two songs, the two big hits off their EP release were Small Town Bring Down and Last American Exit. And I really like both those songs. And then when Up to Here came out, I got that, and that's Blow It High Dough and 38 Years Old and New Orleans is Sinking and all the great songs on there. And so I talked to a guy in Toronto, well, Andy Frost, Morgan Frost's dad. I talked to him, and he knew a guy who was part of the Hips management or whatever. And so I was able to go and get a pass to go and see the Hip play the Masonic Temple, the concert hall at Yonge and Davenport. It was a hot night in August, and it was like 95 degrees, and the humidity was like up around 100. It was just a steaming hot night, and it was one of those special moments, and it was a fantastic night. And the guys in the Hips management had said, Gordon, some of the guys know you from your work on TV and the newspaper, the hockey news or whatever. They were huge hockey fans, and they had hockey pools and stuff. So they said, come back after, we'll leave backstage passes. So I got to meet Gord that night, and we created a little bit of a friendship over the years. And, more than anything else, all the Tragically Hip music, it just speaks to me like nothing that I've ever listened to. And so that's my jam. That's my band. And my great pride in life is that I took Mike and Sean to Hip concerts very early, and they've probably been to more Hip concerts than me because I could never go to the Hip concerts because I was always working. And especially on July 1st, they always played a Canada Day show, and I was always working. But Mike and Sean have gotten into it, and they got Hip in their blood now. And so I feel like I've done my job as a good dad.
Did you get a chance to go to the show in Kingston?
I didn't go to the final show. I went to the last of the 3 Toronto shows, the week or two before they played in Kingston. I was celebrating, I think it was my 60th birthday, on August 16th that year. And that Saturday of the final show in Kingston was a night that myself and my wife, Cindy, Mike and Sean and their better halves, we went out for my birthday dinner at Jacob's Steakhouse in Toronto, and we taped the Hip stuff. And we came back to Sean's condo actually, and watched the part of the show. But then I've still got it on PVR on my here, and I've watched that show over and over again because there's nothing like it for me. Gordy and the Hip.
Yeah, that seemed kind of like a national thing. Like, it seemed like the entirety of Canada was watching those shows toward the end there. It's pretty emotional stuff. Bob, I just got one last one for you. I know the game's probably in the best position it's ever been in. Other than labor issues, what are the biggest issues the NHL might face in the next 5 to 10 years?
It's a good one. I haven't thought about that one. So the labor issues are always interesting, and I mean the CBA's done for a good long time now, or at least we think it is.
Yeah.
I guess the biggest one, I suppose, is going to continue to go down the road that we talked about with diversity and making sure that the hockey culture and that the NHL reflects the changing face of the game and the changing face of society in Canada, the United States, and the world over. But I suspect too that I know nothing about this. I just saw anecdotally on Twitter yesterday about that story in the Swedish second league or whatever about Bjorklöven and the question about did they throw a game and stuff like that. So we haven't had the opportunity yet in the National Hockey League to have the full up partnership between the NHL and legalized gambling and that. So I suspect over time that's going to be something that is going to need to be navigated around on a lot of different levels. And I really don't know much about all that stuff because I knew that it was coming in at the tail end of the time when I was getting ready to depart the scene on a day-to-day basis. So I don't need to know a lot about that, but I suspect that's an issue that will be an important issue in terms of how it's handled by everybody in terms of the information, be it injuries and trades and all this kind of stuff. There's got to be a lot of layers to that whole thing of syncing up the hockey industry with the gambling industry and obviously and hopefully for the financial betterment, because I mean this pandemic, the economics of this is going to impact the game for so long. I feel bad for the players. I feel bad for the owners because There's no, you can cap escrow all you want, but at the end of the day, the numbers are the numbers. And it's just a matter of when everybody's going to pay back the money that's owed.
Well, we really appreciate you coming on. It's been a long time coming, and that is all right. You said it best. That's campfire stories, just some old classics, and you've been around for so long. So, congrats on all your success. I know it's semi-retirement. I don't know when that the official no more Bob McKenzie breaking news will happen, but what a run you've had. Well,
I appreciate it, guys. And the song here, I'm looking at it now, is
Mr. 305.
Hold on. It's Piensas, Piensas, and then it's Dila the Verdad, and then it's featuring somebody called Genta de Zona. So,
you get a couple margaritas in you, Bobby. You get the hip shaking.
Yeah, for sure.
Shakira.
It is. The hips don't lie.
Oh yeah 10-2, baby. Bob, this was awesome. Thanks. I know we didn't even get a chance to dive into the kids, but we'll have you on again. You can tell us more stories about you fucking around with Adam Minor kids calling illegal stick penalties late in games
in consolation games,
games,
but payback as well. So
hey, listen, wasn't me that started it 3 years earlier.
You don't start things, Bob. You finish them.
Hey, Rough and Rowdy, you and Phil Esposito. I can get you. Hey, I get you some of that post retirement.
No, I like
bro.
Phil. Phil's a good.
I'll get you a new kitchen.
Yeah,
I'm sure you could.
You'll have a new boat by the end of it.
The glove ad, by the way, was well done.
You like that? The Watson gloves. You know how much weed I smoked before that sales call, Bob? You wait till you see the McDonald's one coming out. Although it'll already be out by the time this comes out.
Listen, as much as you should sell your gloves or whatever, sell my books for me, please. Everyday Hockey Heroes Volume 2. Buy it before Christmas. It's a great book. It's probably not as fun and frivolous as Beauties by James Duthie. And buy his book too. There's a chapter on me in there where I scored on Tretchak, but that's another story for another pod.
Round two on Chiclets. Let's do a Chiclets on his at his lake house.
Bob,
thanks for the invite. Get
the fans a Biz20 promo code. They'll love you forever. I'll tell you that.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on, guys. Take care. All the best.
Huge thanks to Bobby Mack, man. Like I said, a personal thrill for me to interview this guy. Canadian hockey reporters are the cream of the crop. They do it the best. So it was a true honor and joy to talk to Bob McKenzie. And he has some fucking awesome stories too. But all right, moving right along, Biz. You've been playing with your Bruush a lot lately, I noticed.
All right, so Bruush, one of my buddies created this electronic toothbrush. It's unbelievable. He sent me one about a year ago, and my teeth have never felt better. So when I went to the dentist the last time, and I told you guys I had 10 cavities, I felt like the biggest fucking loser. And I was like, oh no, like I think that they're going to eventually come on as advertisers because I love the thing so much and I talk about it. Now they're going to be like, yeah, I'm not going to be trusting somebody who's got a toothbrush when they have 10 fucking cavities. Am I wrong here, Whit?
No, everyone would have said, shut up, Biz. Why we use what you use? You're an absolute Diet Coke mouth.
That's a Mountain Dew man over here. So I have actually the invoice type thing of what tooths needed to be replaced is right over there. It's on a sheet thing. So I put that in my pocket. And I went and got a second opinion. I go see a guy. I don't explain anything about my mouth. He looks at it and I said, so do I have any cavities? And he's like, there's like a, one little thing here that, it might be starting, but nope, you're all good. So I go from a place where they tell me I have 10 cavities to go getting a second opinion to the fact that I have 0 cavities, 0 Whit. I
don't get how...
I showed him the sheet and I said, what do you make of this sheet? And he looked at it and he had a smirk on it and then he looked back. And you never want to throw the other guy under the bus. Yeah. He goes, I think it's aggressive. And
so they're trying to make some dough?
I don't know, but it's uncomfortable because I bought, and this is how cheap
like if you have none, it's like maybe say like 3, 10?
10.
Yeah, that's a weird second opinion. That's like finding you have fucking 7 brain tumors that are malignant, and then like, oh no, by the way, that's just a headache you have. Like, that's a huge fucking difference.
So the good news is now Bruush can get a proper ad read, and I can pump this toothbrush out because I brush my teeth for about 10 minutes every time. I just hit the button. There's 6 different settings. It's very reasonably priced. I think it has a 2-year warranty. The battery lasts 2 months. Granelli, I sent you one.
It's unbelievable. It's my teeth are the cleanest they've ever been.
So here's the kicker. all these electronic toothbrushes, they sell the tops of them for like $20 a pop or even more. And some electronic toothbrushes, you can't even get the replacements unless you buy a whole new unit.
Really?
So yeah,
Scam.
that's the scam. You can set up the subscription. Is that how you say it? Subscription. You can get 3 for under $20, and they send them out every 6 months, and that's your toothbrush for the 6 months. So it's a great fucking it's a great product, and it's helped me clean my teeth to the point where even after not going in for 3 months, I had 0 cavities.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks still use the old analog toothbrush instead of going digital, even though dentists recommend electric brushes because they're more effective. Check out Bruush. Bruush is redefining what it means to have a perfect smile, because a healthy smile is a perfect smile. Get 15% off your Bruush toothbrush kit and refill plan when you use the promo code Chiclets at Bruush.com. That's 15% off the promo code CHICLETS when you go to Bruush.com. That's BRUUSH.com. By all means, check that out. Like Biz said, it's got a full week battery life, a magnetic charge stand, compact travel case. If you get the subscription thing, you won't miss any of the new fresh heads. That's what you need. You need to keep the chiclets clean. If you're gonna
Wait, I got to ask you one last question. So I bought a 4-pack cleaning plan from the prior place. I have 2 of them left. Do I call back for the difference? I mean, is that being cheap, or do I just cut my losses here?
Well, it's like kind of little payback for them. They were trying to make money off you, and you already paid them for this 4 cleaning plan.
It's kind of an uncomfortable
Biz
call,
brought in
though.
a coupon to the dentist. Like, I saw this in the Scottsdale Mariner. Can I get this? But you should go back and get the money, dude.
Kind of like I did with when I went back to the dealership when they ripped me off with the carburetor that I needed. And there's
that was very valid, though. Once you found out he was like making shit up.
That just goes to the depths of my gullibleness. I'm just the guy who gets ripped off all the time.
gullibility. Oh, you ready to talk about the East Division?
Yes,
boys?
my apologies.
No, you don't have to apologize, Biz. That's
fucking Bruush, baby. Let's go. 0 cavities.
Thoughts. First off, Sunday, Buffalo goalie Linus Olmark, he got his first win after his dad passed away. I don't know if you guys happen to see the photo. I'm not sure which agency took it, but it's a picture of him just kind of looking heavenward after he won the game. Just a really tender scene, man. I mean, obviously, God, losing his dad is a nightmare. He wasn't home for it. He plays in a different country, and he had to go out and play hockey, and he took him a couple of games to get a win. And did you guys see the picture afterwards or his reaction? You know, it's 6-7 games in the season. When a guy reacts like that, you realize there's a little more to it. And there was one photo he looked up with, and it's like you can't help but get moved when you see a situation like that.
Yeah, and it's clear what his dad meant to him. Definitely brutal to see that, and so happy for him to get the win. And this division is what we said. It is probably the best division. Washington is the other team. It wasn't just Montreal that hasn't lost in regulation yet. So I think the big story is what happened with that team and that club and away from the arena. And
really?
All right, you can kind of describe
They saw Buffalo on the schedule, and they're like,
And I took Buffalo. I'm like, oh, they got all these guys out, and they still lost that first one. They won the next one. We don't need no
stinking masks.
Then they didn't have Wilson the next game and just got him in a shootout. But what happened actually? All right.
Washington was fined $100,000 for breaking COVID protocol when 4 players were seen reported to be commiserating maskless in the same hotel room, which is against rules. It was Alexander Ovechkin, Dmitry Orlov, Ilya Samsonov, the new goalie, and Kuznetsov. They're going to miss at least 4 games each. Apparently, they were just hanging out in the room together. And Lavi said, hey, we understand the rules. We effed up. We didn't pay attention. Marchand was hilarious. I know this Bruins factor, but Marchand was like, hey, I think the big thing is it's a respecting. These guys didn't follow the rules. If you put yourself in a bad situation, that's on you. I mean, hilarious. You're getting suspended and you got fucking Marchand chirp you on the side. But bottom line is, you know, these guys broke the rules. I know, what's his name? Ovechkin's wife, she chimed in and she posted that, like, Ovi and Orlov have the antibodies. And then she was kind of sarcastic, saying the virus only works in hotel rooms and I'm playing other teams do the same thing. So it was a little bit of a PR mess for the Capitals. But at the end of the day, I don't know how much it's going to affect their season. I don't know. COVID?
No, I don't think it'll affect their season. The thing to me that is, go ahead.
Well, I was going to tee you up and say, like, the rules were in place, and you know, I'm a rule follower. it doesn't make it just doesn't make a ton of sense to me. I mean, these guys are in the showers together, like they're spitting and coughing all over the bench. Like it's just
Ovi buries a pass from Kuznetsov and they're hugging each other, fucking breathing in each other's face, and then you can't sit in the hotel room. It's like, I don't know if other people in the room, I have no idea, but it just seems so crazy that you're doing everything all the time at the arena right next to each other, and then when you get to the hotel, you can't hang out.
They're doing the program celebration right before they go out in the tunnel, like hawking in each other's mouths at this point, because we've all seen that whole routine. Could you play the audio of Ovechkin yelling to Oshie as he's coming out, Grinelli? I mean, this guy is an absolute farm animal. But listen, they broke the rules. Biz likes that. They broke the rules. Ching, ching. A little bit of rest for the weapons, and I don't think it affects anything moving forward. And, a little bit of drama to talk about.
Yeah, I don't think you can really beat on him too much. I mean, I think after 9, 10, 11 months, not everybody out there has abided by what you should. I mean,
and these guys are Russian. COVID didn't even exist in their country. They're like, what?
At the border.
Yeah. That too. And if they do have the antibodies, then if you're told by a doctor you can't catch it, then you're not going to give a fuck about it. But either way, we're not going to beat up on the Capitals too bad. The league already did that as well. Tom Wilson did leave the game Friday with a lower body injury. He should be back soon. And Connor McMichael debuted on Sunday. And what's pretty funny about this kid, he was, of course, just on Team Canada at the World Juniors. He used to dress up as Alexander Ovechkin for Halloween, and now he's a fucking teammate of his.
I know. As we get older, Biz, you start seeing all these kids. Their idols were the guys that are younger than us.
Yeah. Nobody's dressing up like you.
Yeah.
You think?
Or me.
Somebody just puts on huge ears and in 7 jerseys.
Actually, I lied. There will be people dressing up as you now, because Grinelli made a what do you call it? A South Shore Kings T-shirt with Whitney on the back. Didn't you?
This thing is that you guys. We won in '97. I've talked about it once or twice, and this T-shirt jersey is so authentic, and so I might not take it off. I might not. So limited amount will be going on sale.
I'm going to use it to shine my tires on my Jeep.
Sold out. My call is they're sold out in 10 hours.
I think 20 minutes. I think these things go. I think they go quickly.
Send me one so I can clean my tires off, Grinnell.
If I can't get a pink Whitney Take Your Shot machine, can I at least get a Ryan Whitney Quebec Pee Wee T-shirt jersey?
We need a Welland Tigers one for my minor hockey. We're black. We're white. We're dynamite. You guys do the chants down.
That was your chant?
Yeah, because we're black, white, and yellow. We're black. We're white. We're dynamite.
Biz, what's black and white and red all over?
I don't know.
A newspaper.
Bump.
I don't. Oh, okay. I just clicked in. That's a good one.
Red as in READ, Biz.
Yeah. I was like, color. I'm like, is there a lot of red ink? No ink. Okay, past that. Oh, okay, I got it. It's a different word.
1934 joke making fucking content.
I double clutched. I double clutch on a lot of your jokes, man. I have to listen to the podcast to get them.
That's all right.
In the East, we also got to shout out the New Jersey Devils, Pasha's own New Jersey Devils. I mentioned Ty Smith before the year, I think, or maybe after the first episode of first few games, and he went on. I think he's looking to become only the second defenseman to ever have a point in his first 7 games. Marek Zidlicki did it. Is that correct, RA?
I'm going off you. I mean,
okay, I thought you'd have it written down, but I'm pretty sure that's correct. Where he is now approaching kind of game changer offensive defenseman status. He's got the skill. He's very small. Well, I shouldn't say nowadays. Nobody's very small in the NHL, but undersized, and has changed the team. And now mainly it's Jack Hughes.
Oh my goodness,
that's what. And it's like last year, like Jack Hughes, because you're the first overall pick, you're in the NHL, but he was coming from the national program, right, Grinelli? Like he could have easily spent a year in college.
100%.
And you know what? It didn't really matter because he's put on that weight and he looks like a different player. He's got 7 points in the last 5 games, I think. And he showed that, like, all right, Lafreniere right now in New York doesn't have a point through 5 games. It doesn't. Relax, because Jack Hughes looks like a different player.
I think you nailed it with mentioning Lafreniere and him not having a point, where some guys take a little longer, like Capo Caco. I mean, I think he's got 2 tucks now, but I don't think he's probably not where they'd expect him to be at this point when they drafted him. So yeah, it's so comforting as a New Jersey fan to see this guy pop off the way he has, and he's starting to shoot the puck. That last one he scored was a fucking laser. You did see the one in the first couple games when he came down the wing and he tried to take a slap shot, and it seemed as if though he's still getting used to his body and his weight.
That clip was played. The puck was bouncing. It was at the end of his shift, and he fell as he hit it, but it was totally because of the way the puck's coming in. Everyone's like, look at this first overall pick falling over. I was like,
well, I was saying more like I'm more excited for him to get even more used to his body and probably put on even a little bit more weight to where he's on his way. He looks great so far this year.
Yeah, well, Ty Smith does all the cooking and cleaning. Like, him and Jack Hughes live together, so we have a Norris Kachuk situation where Jack Hughes came out and was like, "Yeah, he does all the cooking and cleaning for us."
Wow,
bitch!
Sounds like a hazing more than a fucking
give me the puck too,
but
motherfucker.
Yeah. Boys, we can't talk about New Jersey without talking about their goaltender, Mackenzie Blackwood, Scott Wedgwood. Blackwood 2-0-1 with a 9.48 and a 1.90. Wedgwood with a 1-1, 9.37. 2.0, one shutout. The goalies are the key to Jersey right now, man. And they're one of these teams that I think have surprised people early on. Again, it's very early, but their goaltending has been key to what their success has been so far.
They're kicking.
Wedgwood, I think it was his first win in the NHL since 2017.
Yeah, he was in Arizona for a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, he grinded away in the minors for a long time, and I saw it was like a post-game interview where he was talking about his entire family was, stood by his side as he just did his best to try to get back to the NHL. And now Aaron Dell's picked up. They're waiting for the whole waiver, or I don't know what it is with him, contract, visa, who knows. And Blackwood, is he injured? He's injured, correct? Mackenzie Blackwood, RA?
Yeah, he was hurt for a couple games.
Okay, so he's getting a chance that he might not get when Dell's there, but still, to take advantage of it and get that win and look that good. The first game he struggled and then get a shutout, that's big time. I was happy for him.
And
Blackwood's in COVID protocol too.
If there's ever been a goalie tandem with Wood, where the last name ends in Wood, like Blackwood. No, it sounds like a Wicked Stoner thing, but Blackwood and Wedgwood, it's, when you're doing notes, it's like it kind of jumps out at you. It's not a common thing for 2 goalies to have their name in last same 4 letters.
I'm feeling you.
Talking about the Devils, PK Subban let a couple of bombs fly, and they caught New York Ranger Brendan Lemieux twice, dude. That shift, I mean, we're talking about a bad shift early in the game. We'll talk about a hard shift. Brendan Lemieux, man, he took 2 lickings, stayed out there, dude. You would have thought it was the killing a penalty in the fucking playoffs biz, the way he stuck in there.
Yeah, he was doing the one leg kicking, swimming around there. I didn't really have much teed up for that topic. What do you think?
I think you should probably read the notes when I send them.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, that's not a topic. It was
like a shot block. No, you're good. You're good.
I'm just breaking chops. Yeah, no, it was more of a segue into the next thing, which was Boston Bruin Trent Frederick talking absolute shit to PK Subban when the Bruins and Devils played. I mean, he's a young kid. I think he's technically a rookie this year. PK's been around for a while. He's
Give
like,
it all you got.
He did. He sounded like this. You ever see
video?
You ever see I Love You, Man? Here we go, Galaxy. Here we go.
Yeah. That's what
fucking movie. That's kind of what it reminded me of when you sent that to the text.
Yeah, give it all you got. Give it all you got.
He's like,
and then he was calling him out. PK's like, I'll go you when I'm ready, I think he said. They didn't end up fighting. PK threw him down. Actually got a penalty on that play, which I don't know if he necessarily deserved. But Frederick, he's St. Louis boy. I saw our boy Jansen tweeting about him, talking about that. Of course, he's looking to get in the mix. It's like all the people from the Lou.
And the Bruins took that kid in the first round, knowing he probably wasn't going to be a first-line player, but that he would be such an impactful, middle 6 guy that they decided, fuck it, we'll take him. And I'm interested to see what the kid does going forward. And speaking of Boston, David Krejci has now the 5th most assists by a Czech player ever after Yaga Eliash, Vinny Prospel, and Jake Voracek. Pretty big accomplishment for Krejci. I think he's probably one of the more underrated superstars over the last decade or so in the league.
Yeah, I wouldn't say superstar, but I would say one of the best playoff performers you've seen. I mean, every single time the Bruins have a run, I always say he's one of their best players. It makes sense. He's quietly gone about it for, is it kind of 15 years? Is his career now?
Yeah, kind of like a Patrick Elias in New Jersey, where he just is like so consistent for so long. Like I would say he's probably not going to be a Hall of Famer, but just a guy that probably like a Ring of Honor type guy.
Yeah,
I think his number will be retired. I don't know.
I think it will be wet.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't argue that.
I mean, I think he has a kind of a low key personality. So like he's not like a dominant guy. So you don't hear or see him as much in the town, but what he's done, his playoff performance speaks for itself. I think absolutely 100% 46 will go up.
They're going to have that Ring of Honor jammed up at one point.
Yeah. The old teams, man, they are running out of numbers. That's why I was surprised that Brendan Dillon, who we interviewed recently, played for 3 teams and none of them had the number 4 retired yet. So, all right, moving right along. Buffalo's Dylan Cousins. He got his nice first tuck NHL. I mean, that was just an absolute snipe. Speaking of Buffalo, our buddy Jack, he's got 7 points in 6 games so far. Taylor Hall, 6 points in 7 games. I mean, Buffalo, I know that the record's not ideal right now, but these guys are playing hard, man. What they are.
They just need goaltending, man. Their goaltending has been brutal. Like they're up 3-2. I think it was I think they ended up winning the game in the shootout, or maybe it was even the game before, but they were up 3-2 late, and then I think it was Backstrom scored from behind the fucking goal line. And it's just like so deflating, and they're trying to look for their first win in regulation, I believe. And luckily they ended up, I believe it was the game that they won in a shootout. But if they can get some stops, they're a gritty team and they look good offensively. Just need some stops, man.
And the way they need stops, the Islanders, they need to score goals. They keep them out of their net, but they don't score either. Yeah. So the team is good, and they're going to get in the playoffs, unfortunately, but they can't score, and that's what I've said forever.
Just 9 goals so far, Whit, in 5 games. I mean, conversely, they've only given up 8, so they are winning. Yeah. Varlamov has had back-to-back shutouts, 3-0 so far with a .988 save percentage, 0.33 goals against. I know it's early. Those are impressive numbers.
Clutterbuck should get a statue. He fucking woke him up. Look at that. All his numbers since he fucking threw a dart in his neck in warm-up. Well, boy, go attaboy, Clutterbuck.
But I mean, that's Trotz hockey, I guess. At the end of the day, like as long as you score more than the other guy, it don't matter.
Oh yeah, Barzal's having a blast.
All right,
I played Tampa in the playoffs.
All right, boys. Let's move along to the West, and of course, Vegas 5-1, 10 points is leading the division right now. But this is a pretty tight division, Biz. They played 4 games versus your boys in Arizona this week. But you go down the bottom of the division, Anaheim and LA both have 6 points, so everything's pretty tight so far. What have you seen so far?
LA's been gritty. Yeah. I thought they were going to be a lot worse than they are. But yeah, like even Colorado hasn't. I mean, other than that big blowout win, they haven't been like lights out.
Nope.
I've watched Vegas 4 games in a row now. Just they look very strong, and Fleury is playing really well. He hasn't even gotten much lead time. I think for like 60 or 70% of the time he's been in net, they've been tied, and he squeezed out the win the other night. Had a great shutout, made a couple key saves. But yeah, it's going to be a climb to the top. Like no one's really popping out that much other than Vegas right now.
I know Colorado's kind of weird. Like you'd think they'd have more going on, and they're fine in the position they're in, but you'd think they would have had a little better start. LA Biz, you just when you think that Kopitar may slow down, he's got 10 points, like it's 6 games already. So he's looked phenomenal. And a guy I noticed they got in a trade from Toronto, the Carl Grundstrom. Yep. I actually got to play with him for a minute there in Moto, and he's just this thick. He can skate, loves throwing his body around. He scored an awesome goal on Sunday night or maybe Saturday night for LA. So they're giving guys chances, right? They're at a time in that organization where prospects are going to get opportunities. They're going to get a chance to play. Like I like that Iafallo. He's got 4 points already. He's looked good at times. Like he's playing more minutes than he would on another team. So if Carter and Kopitar can continue to play well and Doughty, like who knows, right? I mean,
yeah.
Byfield isn't playing, right?
I'm not sure about Byfield, but I was going to mention Adrian Kempe, a guy I won a Calder Cup with in Manchester. They definitely surprised. I can't wait to watch them when they play against the Coyotes to get even a better look. But after that, I think it was that overtime loss to Minnesota. They've been playing a lot better.
And I wonder about Vegas, if their record might be a little bit misleading. They've trailed or been tied after the second period in 5 or 6 games. They're getting a little late game magic. So
yeah, that'll end. That can't last.
Yeah. I mean, you can't play with fire that long, and their power play just 2 for 20 so far. That's a team that should be doing a little bit better in that regard. We also had a swap of veteran D-men in this division as Colorado sent defenseman Ian Cole to Minnesota for defenseman Greg Patterin. Both guys are in their last year of their deals. Patterin is making $2.25 million. Cole $4.25 million, although Colorado's eating about a quarter of that. However, today, Monday, Colorado did put Patterin on waivers. If he's not claimed, he'll likely end up on the taxi squad. You got to think this is a cap-related move for either or both teams, just because.
Well, it had a lot to do with Bowen Byram showing up in Colorado. When he played his first game, he dangled Getzlaf, I think. He dangled somebody. But all of a sudden, it's like a left shot defenseman, kind of a future core guy for this team. So Ian Cole becomes, expendable, but it's a typical Billy Guerin goes out and gets a guy he's familiar with, Stanley Cup champion. And I think where Minnesota is, that's a guy who could fit in really well there. I mean, he's going to play PK. He's a prick to play against. Biz, we got the chance to be in camp
St.
with
Louis,
him, right? And you saw there was a lot there. I mean, he's a first-round pick.
I think he'd been stripped of his confidence in St. Louis, and then he went and found it in Pittsburgh, and then he had even, I think he's been pretty successful since he's been over in Colorado. It just his numbers not great. I think he was making 4. I believe Colorado retained 800,000 of it. Is that the way the deal worked out? But yeah, I think that he's a good experienced guy to maybe run off and help some of the young guys in Minnesota, but also add some stability to that back end, where I think Bill Guerin, I think he's like all in on this season. I think he easily thinks they can make playoffs. I was doubting them coming in, but the feeling out of Minnesota is that they think they have a very, very good team. And it looks as if though it's that way early on.
Yeah, Minnesota beefs up their D with Cole, and obviously, like Whit said, they make cap room for the Bo Bynum situation. So it's kind of one of those deals that basically helps out both teams. I mean, cap money matters more than ever before this season, no doubt about it. So
Colorado's now at the cap floor.
Oh yeah, they've been.
And they've been pretty much at that wagon.
Yeah, but they're also going to get a little more maybe oomph on D that they might not have had before. So, and also Minnesota's been their best start through 5 games since the 28-29 season. Kirill Kaprizov leads the team with a goal and 5 assists in 6 games. Their power play stinks at 7.4%, but you got to say early on, if you're a Minnesota Wild fan, you got to be happy with what you've seen so far.
Well, then you see the clip of him in practice doing that silly trick from behind the net. Then I don't know, I forget who the shot was on, but he ended up going between the legs down the wing, and he got
a lot on it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, anytime a guy goes through his legs like that, especially at full speed, it's pretty wild stuff. Speaking of pretty wild stuff, Biz, I know we texted about this earlier in the week. Andreas Athanasiou, his first 3 games with the Kings, he had 1 shot on goal in each game, and he scored on each of those shots. It hasn't happened since 1960. Actually, since shots have been tracked since 1960, he's the only guy who's done that, to score 1 goal on 1 shot in his first 3 games of his season.
That'll give a advanced analytics person a stroke if you say he's a good player.
What do you mean? He was 43% Corsi.
It's impossible to keep up.
And speaking of the Kings, Anze Kopitar, he's actually tied for the league lead in points as well. He's got a goal and 9 assists. Boy, Nate Dogg out in Colorado, he's the 4th Avalanche. They hit 500 points after sacking Hayduk and Forsberg. And we did mention Byram already with a sick dish on his first goal over to Mikko Rantanen. And let's see, Minnesota Zach Parise passed Joey Mullen with 4th most game-winning goals by a U.S.-born player ever. JR and Mo are tied at 92, and the aforementioned Billy Guerin had 77. And, of course, we can't mention game-winning goals without bringing up Poker Face and Glenn Anderson from the Edmonton Oilers.
Don't change Poker Face.
Biz, I think that predates you when we had Halsey on the first time. Like, Glenn Hall was drunk at a party and, like, bragging about
Glenn Anderson.
Oh, I remember you guys told me the story, and he just wanted it on Glenn repeat. Hall. I love that tune.
Love that.
I listened to that whole album, that Lady Gaga. That was when she went the futuristic route, right? My poker face, poker face.
Man.
Jam, no doubt.
All right, Biz.
My favorite was Ale Alejandro. Do you remember that one?
I guarantee I've heard it, but you giving me that original beat, I can't think of it.
I was so taken aback when my
Are you sure
mom
that's not Shakira?
No. Alejandro. My old man loves Lady Gaga. One of his bucket list thing is to sit front row at one of her concerts. No word of a lie. Was
this before the movie as well?
Oh, I actually haven't even asked him what he thought about the movie. I guarantee you he
gets like awkwardly quiet. You're like, what, Dad? He's like, you find out he's been writing her letters and shit. He's a complete stalker.
Dear Stan.
I never heard of that song she sings, The Edge.
I'm your number one fan.
What if I get a call from my mom and say, hey, Dad's in prison?
Lady Gaga's personal security put him in a full Nelson and dragged him out of the house. He's wearing one of your old socks you used to use.
He broke into her house and was like taking her panties from her panty drawer.
He'd be like smelling her extra microphones and shit if he likes her that much. Like I think he's all about the voice, not the actual.
She has an unreal voice. I never heard that song "The Edge" before until she sang it like a cappella on Stern, and like I had like fucking goosebumps.
Oh, she is as talented as they come.
Like
she's a freak. So good.
The upbeat version is actually worse, but that one she dedicated to like her great late grandfather on Stern. That was like fucking goosebumps.
I think. Oh man, I hope I'm not making this up. I'm pretty sure it's true. Where she used to dress all crazy and like she'd have these ridiculous costumes on and I guess Tony Bennett was like, "Hey, you're a beautiful woman. Like, what are you doing with all this? You don't need it." And then she started like dressing more normal and shit.
I think he was probably telling her let the music speak for itself instead of like all this other bullshit.
I think
I don't know. I kind of like the filet mignon dress. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It's one of the restaurants you put it over the hot stone.
Yeah, like you said, she showed up in like space outfits and shit. She's off her rocker.
You ever see her documentary on Netflix, Biz?
No, I'll watch it though. I love that movie she was in with Bradley Cooper.
Oh,
great flick. Tough ending.
Oh, that's the movie that I thought you were talking about when you.
Star is Born.
Was that the one you were talking about when you brought it up earlier?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about 5'2", the Gaga. It's the documentary of her on Netflix. It's really good, Biz. It's like gives a whole synopsis of her career and stuff. And yeah, she's someone like I don't have any of her music on my fucking phone, but I admire the hell out of her. If that makes sense.
I got about 3 albums downloaded.
Right. Any other news?
We are going to be getting to more documentary talk later. The Tiger Woods doc that I watched, which I liked it a lot.
All right, you guys have anything more in the West you want to add?
Oh, Chaika.
Oh, actually, I had that after, but yeah, we can get to that right now if we're talking about the Yotes.
He's like banned from the NHL for the next year. So the NHL looked at the scenario and what actually happened and decided this dude deserved to be punished. Go ahead, Rear Admiral.
Yeah, former Arizona GM John Chaika was suspended by the commissioner for, quote, conduct detrimental to the league and game, unquote. And he cannot be involved with NHL business and through December of 31st of this year. So, I mean, that's a pretty harsh penalty for a guy who was a GM and he can't fucking mess around with any teams for the rest of the year because he had an illegal workout. But I mean, you want to dance, you got to pay the fiddler.
He's the analytic bad boy now. I think he just wanted to establish his fucking dominance. And I mean, he gets
a couple neck tats.
That's what I'm. Yeah, he's looking like Takashi.
His neck tat is like Corsi in Spanish.
That would be unreal.
Old English writing across his chest.
That's a pretty big pee-pee whack from the league. So I don't know like the hardcore details of exactly why he got punished as hard as he did. But I mean, yeah, there were some things that he did that weren't great and people weren't happy about around here. And I'm sure some people here are happy to see that come down. Still sucks that we lost our first rounders or one first rounder. Because like if things go very south, all of a sudden, if you get the first overall pick, we've never gotten the first or second overall pick in our organization's history since it's been here anyway.
Until this year when you can't even use it.
Until this year if it happens, and we're gonna fucking make playoffs. But anyway, yeah, analytic bad boy John Chaika, fucking A.
All right. By the way, Connor Garland leading the team with 2 goals, 4 assists in 6 games. Kessel got 4 goals, and Anaheim, dude, John Gibson. 2-1-2 with a 9.38 and a 2.01 with 1 shutout. He's been keeping Anaheim in every game thus far.
The real deal.
He is, man.
He is the real deal.
He's been a fucking pretty good stud ever since he's ended up in Anaheim. But all right, boys. Well, most guys have tried different ways to last longer in bed, but thinking about the Hurricanes' updated COVID NHL schedule doesn't always work. Well, the folks at Roman, an online men's health company, are changing the game with Roman Swipes, the secret to longer-lasting sex. Roman Swipes are a clinically proven way to last longer in bed. They're effective, easy to use, and fast acting. And the best part, they don't require a prescription. You don't have to go to your doctor. You just hit up the internet, boom, you get taken care of. And Roman can ship swipes to you in discreet, unmarked packaging. And each swipes packet is small enough to hide in your wallet for whenever you need it. They're super easy to use. You just take the swipes out of the packet, you swipe it on, you let it dry, and you're good to go. That's it. So go to getroman.com/chiclets right now, and you get your first month of swipes for just $5 when you choose a monthly plan. That's getroman.com/chiclets. Check that stuff out, boys. It works. So I heard. Moving right along, we got a lot of et cetera news as I turn it on the newsletter that I sent out to the boys. NBCSN will no longer exist by the end of the year. This is the channel that's been carrying the NHL for the last 15 years. Well, the NHL deal is up this year. The league's looking at multiple partners for the next deal. There might not just be one network, could be two or three. And I think the NHL actually has leverage this time. They don't have to just take the first deal offered to them. And I think the first thing the league should do is bring back Gary Thorne. He just got laid off from his Baltimore Orioles job. For my money, the best play-by-play announcer ever. The league should do what they can to bring him back and replace Mike Emmerich.
Yeah, when he was crushing it with ESPN, he was as good as they got in the announcing game. And then 13 years with the Orioles, and they just let him go. So I'd love to see him back in the mix.
Absolutely, man. And we'll keep abreast of that situation. So I know a lot of people are like, NBCSN's gone. This is not bad for the NHL. This is good. They're in a better position they've ever been. Their last deal was 10 years, $200 million. This could be $1 billion deal. So things are looking up for the NHL. $1 billion, even if it's half that, whatever. It's like things are going better than they've ever been. So also the NWHL kicked off their bubble at Lake Placid. We usually don't pull for New York teams on here, as we know, but in this case, Team Barstool's own Honey Badger, Kelly Babstock, has suited up for the New York Riveters. They won their first game the other day in the bubble. So thanks for the T-shirts, whoever sent us the Riveters T-shirts, all us boys. Very appreciative. That's a great logo, too, by the way, Biz. Looks
Erica good. Santos, who's doing tons for the NWHL right now. Erica Nardini, she's killing it for them.
Yep, I got my T-shirt repping late. Who is the video of the one girl throwing the hit?
Oh, that was a monster hit. That was Scott Stevens-esque.
Open ice. So I was going to bring this up. Have they ever considered making women's in the professional league, at least, maybe not international play, maybe adding contact, or is that like a faux pas? Would the girls be in agreement to do that?
I think there's the reason they probably don't, and for whatever reason, whether it's physical or whatever, women get concussed at a much higher rate from men. Okay. They don't need the same thump as guys do for whatever reason. And they do get concussed at such a higher rate. I think that's why they don't want hitting.
Okay. Women get concussions easier than men. Is that a fact?
Yeah. Because
I'm believing you, RA. That's
I know you are.
It seems crazy to me, but it does. If you have the facts to support it.
We interviewed Amanda Kessel. I mean, it was years ago. It was probably 4 years ago. And when researching for it, I was like kind of stunned to see how bad the numbers were. Like, it's like, wow. They get concussed at such a higher rate. And, I don't know if it's a physicality thing or a genetics thing or whatever, but, if these girls are going to get concussed at that high of a level, then you probably don't want hits. But I agree with you, Biz. A hit like that, you want to see in the game. But
I'd be interested to know what the girls think of it. If they're like, no, that's just like not part of our game. Sure. I would say like that clip ended up getting crazy views. I'm like, why is there a massive open ice hit being thrown in the NWHL tournament inside this in this bubble? And it garnered a lot of attention. It just sparked my curiosity as to is this something that they would potentially introduce in order to have more people interested? I don't know.
You know what? I think maybe we should bring on one of my former proteges, Kelly Babstock, who I coached up at.
Let's bring her on.
Up in Toronto, Muskoka, rather. Yeah, absolutely. We should get her on because it'll be good to get some insight on that. Moving right along with some hockey news. They did start the season with pucks embedded with tracking technology, but they were changed out back on January 19th because they weren't up to snuff. That is to say, the pucks and this is from the league, did not receive the same precise finishing treatments as during the 2020 playoffs. I don't know why or how that happens, but it's expected that the new supply of tracking pucks will be available soon, and they'll be back after use and quality control testing. Asked if there were any problems with the recalled pucks, Brad Marchand said, yeah, they wouldn't go in the net, which was a joke about the Bruins' inability to score early on. And per Greg
he is
Wyshynski,
just a media darling.
He loves it. And per Greg Wyshynski, one NHL player said the pucks were, quote, terrible and, quote, don't slide, adding that the players had voiced their displeasure with them. So, yeah, the league's trying to do the right thing as far as measuring stuff and whatever. They fucked up putting these chips in the pucks, and instead of keeping with them, they took them out and they replaced them. So live and learn.
So they're not going to try to fix the technology and reintroduce them, or they're mentioned it?
No, they're going to make sure the next time they do it right. Now, why they didn't do it right?
I say
fuck?
Fuck off with this shit. Like, what do I need to know how fast the puck's moving? And like, it's all about the feel. Like, some of these guys have been playing with the same pucks for their whole lives, and then they're going to change up the feel of it. Like,
there's got to be different reasons, though. There has to be plans in terms of what numbers you're going to get than just being able to say, like, oh, it's going
correct,
100%.
But like, so then what? So then the broadcast is just going to be fed up with these numbers as what the pucks track. Like, I don't know, man. Like, at a certain point, I'm like, fuck off with this shit. Let them play with the fucking OG pucks. If you're trying to do it in order to garner attention, because they think it would help grow the game. Fuck, man. Sure, I guess. But am I a little bit too negative with these chips and the pucks, folks? I think it's affecting
ridiculous. Play and guys are like noticing it, then you're like, whoa, come on. That has to be 1A rule in terms of this can't affect anything.
Tell me what the fuck those pucks are telling you, and then at least we can all make a judgment on it. But this is a joke. Like, halfway or partly through a year, they got to like switch out the pucks. Put the fucking rubber pucks and let them play, and fuck off with this analytic toy shit in the puck. Come on.
Yeah, that's what they ended up doing, taking the old pucks from the previous season. I guess the ones they had for the playoffs worked, and then whatever, guys been noticing these ones are off.
Do a player poll.
Yeah.
Do a player poll. How many guys want these chips in the pucks? Then we'll fucking talk.
Yeah.
Same amount as we want fighting still in the game. Come on.
Chipping a jersey is easy, but chipping a puck, you're messing with the fundamental fucking ingredient.
Come on, Gary.
All right.
Stick to your shit.
We wouldn't put a chip in that shoe of yours, that black Air Jordan.
Put a chip in your fucking sketches.
Put a chip in your sketches, Gary.
Come on.
Hey, Tuesday night, we had 10 number one picks playing all at the same time. Ovechkin, Sid, Eric Johnson, Patty Kane, Taylor Hall, the Nate Dogg, Aaron Ekblad, Rasmus Dahlin, Jackie Hughes, and Alexis Lafreniere. Pretty good, man. Like, we always talk about the talent in the league spread out everywhere. It's good to see, man. Every night we got tons of good players. Even if it's a bad team on, you're going to have at least two, three good players on it. Have you guys see that fucking video of the Kazakh goalie? He went nuts. He threw a stick, his waffle, glove, then he broke another stick going to the bench.
KHL snap shows are far above any snap shows.
What? I'm doing Tuukka Rask impression from Providence.
Yeah. That's a true snap show right there in the
Absolutely.
Kazakh league.
Conor McGregor. Dunzo, second round. I don't know how the fuck I didn't bet against him. Everyone, their mother was betting him. Everyone Barstool was sucking his dick. And it's like, dude, he was like a 4-1 favorite. I wish I checked the odds because I probably would have played the underdog, man. Guy's old, man. I don't think he's the same fighter as he was fucking 5-10 years ago.
Right before the fight, my girlfriend looked at me and said, I'm telling you, don't take McGregor. Take the other guy. There's no chance he wins. And I'm like, no fucking way. I'm like, no fucking way. She has no clue. No UFC. She's like, I will bet you anything Conor McGregor does not win this fight. And we were going at it about it, and fucking look what happens. It looks foolish.
So you laid fucking 4-1 on McGregor?
Yep. Yes, I did. And I look like an idiot now.
Wow. I think that McGregor, this is such an outsider's view where I know I don't know a lot about the UFC. But when he came up, I think he was like never going to be outworked by anyone. I think his preparation was like, it just seemed like he was so into his craft. And now he's so Hollywood, and he knows that his name's going to draw the fight. Like, I would guess his work ethic is not what it is, not what it was when he was really dominant.
I think focus would probably be more.
Yeah, like kind of the same thing.
Right. Yeah, because you do need a lot of that going into a fight. I don't know much about the fight game either. I don't think he's going to go away because as far as ratings, I think they like the last I think 4 of the 5 top UFC rated pay-per-view buys have been him. And his name's still huge. So right now, he said that he's going to do the trilogy against the same guy. Whether that guy wants to do that or not, I don't know. I think he wants a title fight. And then he could also go back to Diaz. So if he's fighting, I'm dialed in. I want to know what the fuck. He's a clown show. It's a circus, and I want to watch it.
For everyone who's like, if you've ordered a rough and rowdy and there's maybe been technical difficulties, it can fucking happen at the highest level, because ESPN Plus apparently, like, I didn't get the fight, you couldn't even get the fight. I guess it was like broken for so many people. It's like, oh my God, you'd think you'd
wait and get the GIF after.
What?
Just wait and get the GIF after. That's what I do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it goes 5 rounds and it's a legendary fight. I mean, it's like the issue is buying it, and nowadays with technology, you still half these people couldn't get it.
I said the same thing. I said most of the time you're like, I want to see it. But how many times do you leave yourself after being like, I wish I would have bought it? Oh, it's like it never lives up to the hype, and then
exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, it's
well, congrats to Robbie Fox, who's our peer at Barstool Sports. I mean, I love Robbie, man. This kid was an intern for Riggs back in the day, and now he's flying on private planes to fucking Abu Dhabi with what's his name, fucking
Dana White,
and doing one-on-one interviews.
PJ there.
No, that part was made up.
It was a charter jet, not a PJ, but a charter.
Still, I mean,
no.
Oh, he did fly there with him.
Yeah, it was a whole media thing because the COVID situation. They don't want fucking Joe Rando coming on a plane.
Good for him. That kid, he's worked hard. I mean, it seems like he legit goes at that like that's his thing. UFC's become tight with Dana White.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can get that guy in your corner, he's going to just keep getting bigger and bigger in that sport. So I'm happy for him. I mean, I know his boys, McGregor's probably crying after he lost, but he got to interview him, I saw.
But Robbie does – I'm sorry. What? Go ahead. Sorry.
No. It was just good to see for him.
Yeah, and I think he knows what Robbie does is he acknowledges he's a Conor fanboy, and he still covers it. Like he'll say, yeah, I like the guy, but he got fucking his ass kicked. Like some people will like just always like kiss ass. He's able to acknowledge that he likes a guy and say, hey, and still be impartial. So I like Robbie, man. He's great at what he does. Also, Biz, we talked about the Tiger documentary. Did you get a chance to see it or what?
I watched it. I watched it last week after we recorded.
I thought the online crying about it was way out of line. I thought it was very
crazy.
Well done. I thought it was what they did is, and you could say, oh, everyone there, no one talked. He doesn't talk to anyone anymore. But those were people who Tiger cut out of his life. They weren't vindictive after. They were just saying, hey, here's our perspective on him. And I thought that was the most insight into Tiger Woods I've ever gotten anywhere.
100%.
By the people who knew him the best. And they weren't pissed. They weren't mad. They were just like, hey, this is the deal. And it's clear that his father was like Dr. Frankenstein. He made a robot. And, you wouldn't have Tiger Woods, the champion, without the crazy, like the bad element. It's like you had to take the whole kit and caboodle.
It humanized them.
That too.
Completely humanized them. I've always been a Tiger fan. During that period of time, where he was like so successful, but yet he seemed like agitated by the media. I never understood it. I was still a fan of it. Obviously, after everything happened, there was probably a lot of secrets being kept to where it might probably created him to where he had the double life going. But holy shit, for him to be able to turn it around, man, and get through that as a human being. It was cool. I felt like a little greasy watching it, hearing the story from his like ex-girlfriend in high school, just being like, yeah, essentially his old man wrote me a letter breaking up with me and like forced him, and how he was so controlled. And I don't know, I felt like it wasn't information that he probably wanted to divulge. Same with the buddy at the golf course, and the fact that he was talking about him and his old man, crushing chicks behind.
But I don't think it was gossipy though. But I thought it gave insight into his mentality, like the fact that you're a 10-year-old kid and your father's banging fucking broads in a trailer. Like you don't think it affects you until 25 years later when you realize you got too married young.
So is this something that Tiger Woods signed off on, or
No.
Right. So it's kind of information that he probably didn't want out there, and there were so many people divulging like how deep rooted it was and maybe why it got there. I don't know. I felt a little bit dirty watching it, but ultimately he's one of the, if not, he's probably the most significant athlete outside of Muhammad Ali, like that, right? As far as world renowned and
in the last 50 years, he's definitely in the conversation.
He's better at golf.
Tiger.
he's better at golf than anyone's ever been at a sport. That's what I say. When he was at his peak, when he was at the best that he's ever been, I think he was better at golf than anyone's ever been at their respective sport. If you like the documentary, I mean, I enjoyed it. For people who said it was a hit piece, I don't know, man. I couldn't agree with that less. Now, here's what I'll say. You got to go read the book, but if you want more, that documentary was based upon a book by Jeff Benedict and Armin Katayan called Tiger Woods. It was a #1 New York Times bestsellers, and you got 10 times more info in the book. You got a lot of the same stories in the documentary, but if you want even more, the book is incredible read. And it really shows, just like the documentary did, just more in depth of how he became who he was. And so you look at like his life and you look at how good he was at golf, and the weirdest part was the perfect image, and they were so adamant about it. It was this pristine human being. He was just an amazing golfer, and then he was perfect off the course. He had a beautiful wife. He had kids, all these sponsorships, and it was like, once people start seeing, and the documentary went into the couple of the people that spoke, I hated. The guy with the bow tie was such a little prick.
He's a weasel.
Right when he came on screen, you knew he sucked.
And he's talking about how, but what he was saying is true, is that like the country, the United States or the world, they like want to see the people at the top fail. And it's like, it's drama, and there are people who are rooting for you to just go down if you're at the top of your profession. So people are out there gunning for him. And then the way he treated the media, that makes it even more different, where guys like, all right, you're going to make it clear you hate us. Well, there's going to be some people that aren't going to keep covering up everything for you, Tiger. And so the story originally breaks about the cheating and like the Rachel Yucatel, and like, he does the cover of Men's Fitness so that National Enquirer doesn't break the story.
That's where it got a little greasy.
And so when you start hearing about all these women he's banging, and like, it wasn't a double life. He was living like 1,000 different lives. And so it all goes back to his father, though. And now it was crazy seeing his emotion after he won the British Open, and his father, it was the first major he won since his dad had passed away, and he's hugging his caddy, Stevie Williams. It's like, this guy's dad was such a scumbag. I don't really feel bad saying that, like what this guy did, and read the book, and it goes even more in depth of what this guy did. He had other kids he didn't fucking even talk about or see. He was not a good person, but he's still, it's his dad, right? He loved him. And the thing is, like, you see, like you said, already, you're 10 years old and you're practicing, and your dad's giving some hot blonde a lesson, and then he's taking her in the Winnebago. Like, how are you going to be a normal human being?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to say, like, Tiger's not at fault for anything that he did, right. But, like, dude, I don't know, man. Like, you're fucking raised and you look up and your hero is this guy that's pulling these scumbag moves day after day. It's like they're on tournaments. They're traveling for tournaments, and Earl Woods is, like, banging women. It's like, how are you going to be, like, a person with, like, principle and values growing up with that,
like, and not even hiding it was the bizarre thing.
And I'll say, like, go ahead.
Like, not to say it's any more right, but it's just like, just being that open about it. It's just like, that's got to be damaging.
Where you're taught, like, oh, is this normal? Like,
am I allowed to talk about this at the dinner table? Like,
you combine that with no childhood. I mean, he was programmed to be a golfer. Like his girlfriend said, like, and she added a lot to that documentary. Like, he was just a nerdy kid who was fun when he went and hung out with the girlfriend in the house. But other than that, it was just robotic golf shit all the time. So he never had that, like, not an 18, 19, 20-year-old shit. He never had the college thing. He was just a golf nerd who never, like, sowed his oats. So when he was married and he fell into that whole routine, he still had these unscratched fucking itches. And then you're hanging out with Michael Jordan and fucking Charles Barkley in Vegas. I mean,
and I'm sure they love their names being mentioned in that too.
Oh, you think those two give a shit?
Hey, they did nothing wrong. I mean, Tiger's the one who, had the infidelity. But yeah, I mean, he was a kid because he, was never he never had that experience when he should have had it, because he was pushed into this or pushed into that. And, he did it too late in life. And I don't know. It's just a fascinating story.
It's fascinating. And for every Tiger Woods, or there's nobody else like Tiger Woods, but for all these parents who do try doing this to kids, there's thousands of kids who end up fucked up from it. So it's like, you can't raise your child the way they did. I mean, it worked out. He's the greatest of all time. But I saw the people who were speaking in that documentary, and a bunch of them kind of pissed me off. Like the girl, it's like friend. It's like, how like, I just would have liked to know the friendships on a couple of those people. And the one, though, that I didn't disagree with is his caddy, Steve Williams.
Yeah.
Now, here's the argument. Tiger probably that guy might have made like $30 million caddying for Tiger. Who knows? So it's like Tiger's looking at like, I don't owe this guy shit. But for what they went through and like what he did to change the game of golf and like to become the most famous, maybe the most famous person on the planet, and then boom, forever, you're done. Like that shows how he was just born and raised a certain way where he will cut you out of his life.
Let me ask you this:
Exactly.
How do you feel about the fact that Steve what's his last name?
Steve Williams.
When was he moving on too quick to another golfer? Because he ended up going with Adam Scott. So is that kind of betrayal?
Okay, no. So that wasn't what happened. So when he got pissed, the story he tells is he asked while Tiger was injured, "Can I caddy for somebody?" He wasn't, and I think I mean I don't know, but Tiger seemed to be like, "You to even ask that, you're dead to me." Like, but then he went on with, once he was fired, he went on with Adam Scott. So it totally made sense at that point. He's like, all right, I'm going to go to one of the other best golfers in the world. The craziest thing Steve Williams ever did is he won like a random tournament with Adam Scott. And he's like, this is the best win of my career. It's like, dude, you won 13 majors with Tiger. Like, you just won the Bridgestone Invitational with Adam Scott. Settle down.
The Pro-Am? Was it a Pro-Am?
But I certainly not a hit piece. And if you like the documentary, the book Tiger Woods goes into way more detail.
Yeah, I thought it was very well done. Again, not a hit piece in his biz as far as what you were asking about. Yeah, he had said that. Steve said, I asked Tiger, can I caddy for him? And he said, yes, you could. And then the day of the tournament, not even Tiger, one of Tiger's reps called and said, don't caddy for him. And he's like, well, I already told him I am, and you already told me I could. I mean, again, who knows? Maybe Tiger's a different story. But either way, I think the theme and what just said is that this documentary is made of people who he has emotionally cut out of his life, who all know him. And again, it wasn't like they were vindictive or mad. Even the fucking broad used to hook up. But Rachel, you could tell if there was someone who was going to be vindictive, it would have been her. And I thought she was like pretty spot on. Like, you know, she wasn't like a scorned lover. Yeah, she loved him. And by the way, he told every fucking broad he hooked up with, I think it was like, oh, I'm gonna come. I love you, because every broad on the fucking show is in love with him. But like, she even wasn't delusional. Like, yeah, I was in love with Tiger Woods, but I thought her input was pretty essential to the documentary. But
how about his line? How about his line after he calls her? He's like, "Get what you can."
Dude, exactly, dude. Like he was telling her, like, "Fuck it, get what you can."
When she said that, I was like, "Oh, okay, all right, this guy, yeah, get what you can."
I mean, dude,
good luck in there.
We're not going to bring him up. There was some rather tawdry, disgusting details on that fucking documentary as well.
The Perkins waitress just threw me an absolute
wrench. We're gonna leave it at that, biz, because you're disgusting sometimes.
Oh, and one other person I gotta say, giant fuck you to that Billy Payne loser. I thought the press conference that he gave.
Oh, I hate that.
Oh my God.
The whole Masters crowd, they're a bunch
this
of
fucking guy, dude, you're like running a golf club
racist
and you're
bullshit,
talking
dude.
Oh my God, that's ridiculous.
All that was. Like to admonish us. Like none of those guys fucking cheat on their wives. Like, I'm not going to say names, but there are plenty of guys in the tour who cheat on their fucking wives, and they're going to like hang Tiger for that. That was like pure racist bullshit. Sorry.
RA just took over your anger right there.
Yeah. He did a good job.
No, he reminded me how fucking stupid it was. Yeah, this guy fucking cheated on his wife, and they made it like part of the tour story, as if it was relevant to the fucking
that was
Masters.
crazy.
It was like our hero let us down. It's like, dude.
Yeah, over dramatic.
Just run
bullshit.
the Masters.
Yeah. Well, look at the name of the fucking thing, will you? The Masters fucking says it all. All right, boys. Any more Tiger notes before we get ready to finish up here?
No, I'm glad I don't have 10 cavities.
Oh, God. All right. Hey, one more note here. Longtime Toronto Maple Leaf George Armstrong died Sunday at the age of 90. He was a Hockey Hall of Famer. He helped the Toronto Maple Leafs win the Stanley Cup 4 times back in the 60s, and he was one of the first players of Indigenous descent to play professional hockey. Played all of his 21 seasons in the NHL for the Leafs, 12 of them as their captain. He was also named one of the 100 greatest Leafs of all time, and he had his number 10 retired by the squad. So us guys here on Spittin Chiclets would like to extend our deepest condolences to George's family, his many friends, and the Toronto Maple Leafs family on the loss. Obviously, a legend of the game. Sorry to hear it. We want to extend our condolences. Boys, did you have any other stuff you wanted to add?
Foligno sent a tweet out just about how his father would talk about him all the time and how unbelievable of a man he was. So, it's a tough loss to the hockey community for sure. And it's fucking not a great way to start out the year.
Right, but a life well lived, 90 years, Hockey Hall of Fame, Stanley Cups in Toronto, and also we want to do. I'm sorry, what? Go ahead.
Oh, you said he did it all.
He certainly did. And we also want to acknowledge, too, the Barstool Sports app has opened up in Michigan. Right now, we've only been in Pennsylvania, but if you are in Michigan, you can bet online with your phone. Barstool Sports app. Us guys here at Chiclets, we've been coming up with props every day.
Barstool Sportsbook app.
I'm sorry, Barstool Sports. All right. Sorry, G. Cut me off there. No, you're right. Check it out. If you're in Michigan, Pennsylvania, it's awesome stuff. And ideally, we're going to be in more states. As long as more states keep legalizing gambling, we are going to be there. It's good stuff. We're coming up with props every day. What's the Monday night prop? I know it's already going to have played, but we at the two
USA, Brady Tkachuk and Quinn Hughes, both of them to get a point tonight. We got boosted odds. It's going to be awesome.
We look two Canadian teams, so let's root for the Americans. We figured out a way to do it with the Chiclets prop, so we're going to be doing this stuff all year. The gambling corner. Again, there's no segment this week because I don't know the lines until they come out. There's only one game Monday. Just follow me on Twitter. Follow me on IG. I'll give you my picks. Boys, anything else before we wrap up?
Maritimers. You guys asked me what people are named from the East Coast, and I had about 1,000 Maritimers be like, you're not even Canadian.
We should start doing mea culpas at the beginning of each episode.
What's that mean?
Like what we fucked up the week before.
Oh, that would be the whole 2-hour podcast.
Sorry. Yeah.
Maritimers.
Great catching up with you.